Part 22. Martial Arts, Become Invincible starting from the full-level magic system. Author, Drunk in March at Westlake. Chapter 211. Ningbiao stood on the edge of the cliff, climbed up and looked out, taking in a panoramic view of the scene below. The most eye-catching one is where Huajiazhuang is located. From here, everything in Huajiazhuang is in Ningbiao's eyes. The show is about to begin. A smile appeared on the corner of Ningbiao's mouth. At this moment, a man wearing a bamboo hat came from a distance behind Ningbiao, knelt down on one knee and saluted, and said respectfully, "The deputy leader, the leader has an order." The deputy leader, the leader quickly led his people back to Huajiazhuang to provide support. The Jinyaiwei people were about to arrive. Ningbiao didn't look back and said calmly, "I understand." Poof. Before he finished speaking, a ball of blood shot out and spread into the sky. The Tianming cult disciple who just spoke clutched his throat and fell on his back. His fingers were full of bright red blood. His throat had been cut, but he didn't know that it was who killed him. Behind him, an old man with half a hair and beard appeared. The old man looked at the corpse at his feet, his eyes were cold, and he kicked the corpse down the abyss. "If the destiny of the leader of the Destiny sect is here, you must be able to recognize that this old man is the second elder among the 4 elders of the Destiny sect. You came." Ningbiao didn't look back, and his tone was still calm and calm. Ningbiao was not surprised by the appearance of the second elder, as if everything was within his expectation. The second elder said, "I'm here, everything is ready." "Ready." The second elder lowered his head slightly to show respect for Ningbiao. Ningbiao smiled and said, "I wonder what Tianming will say when he sees this scene?" The second elder said expressionlessly, "I don't want to know what he will say. Anyway, he will die soon. No matter what a dead man says, no one will care." Ningbiao chuckled. "Yes, no matter what the dead say, no one will care. When a person dies, there is nothing. You are very aware of current affairs, so you can stay alive." The second elder said expressionlessly, "Those who know the current affairs are heroes. I can survive 72% by knowing the current affairs. The Destiny sect is too popular, too ambitious, too energetic, but not strong enough to grow. I don't want to be buried with the Destiny sect. Most people in the Destiny sect have been brainwashed and stupid, but after all, there are still smart people. Obviously, the second elder is one of them." Huajiazhuang has arrived. Zhou Chunkai was riding on horseback, looking at Huajiazhuang in front of him. His face became serious. "Be careful, Huajiazhuang may have set up an ambush." Based on the lessons learned last time, Zhou Chunkai was very cautious. He had not forgotten that there was still a traitor within Jinyaiwei who had not been found. Whoosh! 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 Just when Jinyaiwei was approaching Huajiazhuang, Huajiazhuang suddenly shot out. The sky was full of arrows, pouring down towards the Jinyaiwei. To say that 1,000 arrows were fired at once is a bit too exaggerated, but 1,000 arrows were fired at the same time is more than enough. There was indeed an ambush. Zhou Chunkai's eyes turned cold. Just as he was about to take action, Xiao Wuji behind him had already jumped up from the horse. "The world has shifted greatly." Xiao Wuji roared angrily, stretched out both palms, and swept out the powerful true energy like a mountain or a sea. He fixed all the arrows in mid-air, then turned around and shot them back. In an instant, there was a sound in Huajiazhuang. Wailing. "Kill!" Immediately afterwards, deafening shouts of killing suddenly rang out. Countless members of the Destiny sect came out of Huajiazhuang. They were all wearing clothes of the same color, wearing bamboo hats, and black scarves covering their faces, so their faces could not be seen clearly. In the blink of an eye, the members of the Destiny sect had rushed in front of the Jinyaiwei. Xiao Wuji took a rough look and found that there were at least 2,000 people. Among them were many innate warriors leading the team. Zhou Chunkaiu immediately ordered, "Kill, don't let any of them go pass." As soon as he finished speaking, Zhou Chunkaiu immediately took action, drew his sword and struck. A beam of sword light flew into the Tianming cult members, immediately bringing up a large amount of blood. Broken limbs and broken arms were flying everywhere, and at least 30 or 40 people died here. With one strike of the sword, thousands of Jin Yiwei rushed forward and started a bloody battle with the people of the Destiny sect. With just one contact, hundreds of people died instantly. "Zhou Chunkaiu, I am here to be your opponent. What is your ability to bully the members of this sect?" A roar sounded, and Tianming, the leader of the Tianming sect, appeared. He flew out of Huajiazhuang, teleported several times in mid-air, and instantly arrived above Zhou Chunkaiu's head. A huge fist shadow broke through the air, and dozens of Jinyi guardsmen appeared. He vomited blood and flew backwards on the spot, with broken tendons and broken bones. Tianming's punch had not yet landed, but the wind of the punch was enough to kill an innate warrior, let alone an ordinary Jinyi guard below the innate level. At this moment, the ground suddenly collapsed. The footing was not stable. The Jin Yiwei fell into the hole one after another. Under the hole, the members of the Tianming sect had already been ambushed, and there were sharp swords inserted upside down in the hole. As soon as the Jin Yiwei fell into the hole, they were pierced by the sword and died miserably on the spot. Even if he was lucky enough to survive, he was also killed by the members of the Destiny sect who were ambushing in the cave. Being caught off guard by the Destiny sect, the formation of the Imperial Guards was in chaos, and many households and general banners were also in a panic. "Watch your step and don't mess up." The formation of Jin Yiwei. Xiao Wuji was riding on horseback, shouting and issuing orders. Fan Kaija, Lei Bie, and other thousands of households also led a team to fight against the Tianming cult. The sound of killing was loud and corpses were everywhere. At this moment, Xiao Wuji suddenly heard a sharp roar behind his ears. A spear pierced the sky, the tip of the spear flashed with cold light, and shot toward the back of his head. Xiao Wuji reacted instantly, reached back, and grabbed the spear. This is not a metal spear, but an ice spear. The whole body is condensed from ice cubes. The low-temperature cold air spreads out, trying to freeze Xiao Wuji's palm. Snort. Xiao Wuji snorted coldly, squeezed his palm hard, crushed the ice spear, and at the same time dispersed the cold air. Looking back, he saw an old man jumping out from under the hole, surrounded by powerful true energy and low-temperature cold air, covering the surrounding earth. Everything was frozen. The old man roared, waved his palm, and the cold air around him instantly turned into a dozen ice spears, shooting towards Xiao Wuji and others. Judging from the strength of the old man's true energy, this man was at least a mid-level master. I think he is one of the elders of the Destiny sect. Ordinary Jin Yijian who like Zhao Wuqing and Sun Lai are really no match for him. They will be seriously injured within one move. Court death. Xiao Wuji's eyes turned cold, and he flew up from the horse. With the sound of a sword, a 30-meter-long huge sword energy struck down hard. It not only shattered the flying ice spear, but also destroyed the Destiny teaching. The elders were chopped to death together. The sword energy exploded and rushed in all directions, killing the Destiny cult believers around the Destiny cult elders. Dozens of people were injured or killed in one strike. Third Elder. When the surrounding Tianming cult members saw the third elder being hacked to death by Xiao Wuji, they immediately screamed in shock. "Damn you bastard, you actually dare to kill the third child, I can't spare you." An old man with a gloomy face yelled in the distance. He is the great elder of the Destiny sect. The great elder raised his hand and slapped it, and a large black mist erupted, covering the battlefield. Xiao Wuji, including hundreds of Jinyi guards around him, were all covered by the black mist. Shrouded in the black mist, Xiao Wuji saw nothing but darkness around him, unable to see. Groups of black mist were flying around, like ghosts, emitting weird and harsh laughter. But suddenly, a ray of light pierced the darkness. In the fog, Xiao Wuji regained the light. But Xiao Wuji found himself at a station. The battlefield was littered with corpses and blood flowed into rivers. At a glance, there were corpses everywhere. Accompanied by bursts of piercing strange laughter, the ground was filled with corpses. All the corpses got up and started to kill Xiao Wuji like zombies. Ah! Suddenly, Xiao Wuji heard a scream, and a Jin Yiwei was killed. But following the sound, Xiao Wuji couldn't see no trace of Jin Yiwei. He is the only one in this station. Illusion. It's really boring. Xiao Wuji's face was expressionless and his eyes were cold. He could tell at a glance that he had been under an illusion, or in a maze. Everything around him was fake. The corpse, the battlefield, and everything he saw were illusions, but the murderous intention in the illusion is real. This illusion can indeed harvest people's lives. It's a boring childish trick, don't use it to do whatever you want. The flying dragon is in the sky. Xiao Wuji raised his luck, and at the moment when his palms came together, he opened his bow left and right, and thrust out both palms. Roar! The sound of dragon roars resounded throughout the battlefield, and 6 golden dragons rose into the sky, sweeping the entire battlefield. Wherever the golden dragons came, everywhere, the battlefield exploded inch by inch. All 243 corpses and soldiers were shattered, and even the sky was torn apart. There was a loud bang, the sky exploded, the surrounding void instantly shattered, and the battlefield disappeared. Xiao Wuji returned to reality, and the illusion formation it has been completely broken. Poof! The great elder of the Destiny sect in the distance suddenly spat out a mouthful of blood, and his whole body fell back again and again, and his face turned pale instantly. The illusion formation was broken, and he was instantly backlashed and seriously injured. The Destiny sect's great elder, the elder, felt that his internal organs were torn apart and was in unbearable pain. He couldn't help but wailed. No, impossible. How could my abyss formation be broken so easily? The great elder's eyes were full of disbelief, and his eyes when he looked at Xiao Wuji were filled with fear. Nothing is impossible. The tricks of a 3-year-old are just a joke in front of me. After Xiao Wuji finished speaking, he instantly turned into a bolt of lightning and shot towards the elder of the Tianming sect. The elder of the Tianming sect looked horrified, grabbed a believer next to him and threw it at Xiao Wuji, then turned around and ran away. He knew that he was not Xiao Wuji's opponent, so he didn't dare to fight Xiao Wuji head-on, and only dared to use the illusion array to deal with him. But he didn't expect that Xiao Wuji broke his illusion array in an instant and seriously injured him. After fighting in person, the great elder of Tianming sect, only then did he realize that Xiao Wuji was stronger than he thought. He didn't dare to stay and wait for death. Tisk! There was a flash of lightning, and the Tianming cult believer who was thrown over was torn apart by the lightning. The lightning was extremely fast, and he chased him instantly. I walked up to the great elder of the Tianming sect and passed by him. With a whoosh, the lightning stopped on a boulder, and Xiao Wuji showed his true body. In his hand, he held the head of an old man, which was still dripping with blood. That it was the head of the great elder of the Destiny section. His eyes had not yet been closed, and there was fear and unwillingness deep in his eyes. The headless body of the great elder took a few steps forward under the influence of inertia, and finally collapsed. At this point, the Destiny sect, the great elder, refused to close his eyes. In the blink of an eye, Xiao Wuji had killed the 2 great masters and elders of the Destiny sect, greatly boosting the morale of the Jinyi guards. Kill these traitors. We have Xiaoqianhu leading the team, and the traitors from the Destiny sect are no match for us. Kill them all, leaving no one behind. Martial arts, become invincible starting from the full-level magic system. Author, Drunk in March at West Lake. Chapter 212. Kill them all, leaving no one behind. The brothers of Jin Yue have been completely stunned and are fighting with the Destiny sect without fear of death. Because of the absence of two great masters and elders, the Destiny sect's strength has dropped sharply and they have been beaten back steadily. And in Xiao's case, when Wuji killed the two elders, Fan Kaija, the nine Taibao, had also killed the fourth elder of Tianming sect. Fan Kaija's strength was in the later stage of Grandmaster, and he was more than enough to deal with the weakest four elders. In mid-air, Zhou Chunkaiu, who was fighting fiercely with Tianming, noticed the situation on the battlefield and raised his voice. He laughed and said, "Destiny, all the elders under your command are dead, why don't you just capture them without mercy?" Tianming roared sternly, "My destiny is the destiny of destiny. I would rather die than surrender." Zhou Chunkaiu, don't get too proud too early. As long as I am not dead, you will not win. After the words fell, Tianming's killing move came back again, even more powerful than before. But although his tone was tough on the outside, Tianming was very angry in his heart. "Damn Ningbiu, why haven't you come back yet? Why didn't the second elder show up? What the hell are those two bastards doing?" Before the war started, he had already sent people to notify Ningbiu and asked him to bring people back for support. If he and Ningbiu join forces, they can definitely suppress or even kill Zhou Chunkaiu. Even if he and Zhou Chunkaiu fight alone, Ningbiu one person can suppress Jin Yue, and Xiao Wuji will not be so unscrupulous. But he didn't expect that Ningbiu hasn't come back yet, and even the second elder disappeared at some point. Tianming is not a fool, and he quickly guessed that the two betrayed him. The truth. "Ningbiu, how dare you betray me? I will never spare you. And the second elder, how dare you dare to defy me? I will definitely make you suffer the pain of being eaten by thousands of snakes." The more Tianming thinks about it, the angrier he becomes. His eyes are red and bloodshot. Tracer and shadow. Tianming roared angrily, and the true energy in his body exploded. "Zhou Chunkaiu, today is the day of your death, take your life." 8 Destiny attacks Zhou Chunkaiu at the same time. The killing moves are dense and overlapping, like a big airtight net, leaving Zhou Chunkaiu with no way to escape. The killing moves that attack from 8 directions at the same time also make Zhou Chunkaiu unable to escape. Spring and autumn are hard to resist. The sword energy becomes a pure yang and breaks the army. Zhou Chunkaiu waved his long sword, spreading fierce sword energy all over his body, forming a wall to block Tianming's fatal move. Then Zhou Chunkaiu rose into the sky and rushed out of Tianming's encirclement. The sword energy all over his body gathered and merged into one. It turned into a giant sword energy with a length of more than 60 meters, and stabbed the Destiny heavily. The mighty sword energy swept past, and the 8 Destiny shadows instantly shattered and disappeared without a trace. There was a loud bang, and the Huo family below the village was hit by the sword energy, and the buildings collapsed and turned into ruins. Whoosh! From the dust in the sky, a figure shot out and fled quickly towards the outside of the village. That person was obviously Tianming, the leader of the Destiny sect. At this moment, Tianming's clothes were torn and he was covered in blood. His mask had also been lost, revealing a face as pale as paper. It was a man with a resolute face, and his appearance was fairly good, but there was a scar running through his eyebrows and the right half of the cheek ruined the beauty and made Tianming look a little scary. "Zhou Chunkaiu, I will come back." Destiny left a harsh word, and the speed of escaping soared again. The black shadow flashed and teleported a distance of more than 10 or 20 feet, which was almost difficult to catch with the naked eye. "Don't let him go, stop him." Zhou Chunkaiu was chasing after him, but his light kung fu was obviously no match for Tianming and he couldn't catch up. Zhu Taibao Fan Kaija was the closest to Tianming and immediately wanted to stop him. But he was fast, and Xiao Wuji was faster than him. "Brother Ninth, let me do it." The moment the voice sounded, Xiao Wuji had already arrived first and passed by Fan Kaija quickly. Although Tianming was injured at this moment, it was not something Fan Kaija, who was in the later stage of Grandmaster, could handle. Tianming wanted to escape at this moment, and even more anxiously jumped over the wall. Fan Kaijuruo, if you dare to step forward and block the road, you are afraid that you will be beaten to pieces by Tianming if you meet him. The full-level lightning god walked and used it. Although his skill was not 100%, his speed was almost the same as Tianming. Seeing Xiao Wuji blocking him, Tianming suddenly became stronger. Angry, "You little beast, get out of here." Xiao Wuji killed the 3 elders of Tianming sect, which made Tianming hate him to the bone. He wanted to tear Xiao Wuji into pieces. At this moment, Xiao Wuji blocked his way of escape, which made Tianming hate even more. Xiaoying Tianfeng decisively kills. Tianming roared angrily, raised his hand and struck Xiao Wuji with a palm. Faced with the incoming killing move, Xiao Wuji did not retreat but advanced. The Shui Ying Kuang sword cut through the sky, making a sharp knife cry. Endless cold air swept across, and the sword energy exploded, forming a howling wind. Cold blade and ice hard. With an angry slash of the sword, thousands of sword energy gathered into one, forming a 50-meter sword energy that struck down heavily. There was a loud bang, and the sword energy hit the huge palm. "This is impossible. Why are you so strong?" Tianming doesn't believe that a mere Xiao Wuji can defeat his killing move. Although he is seriously injured now and his combat power is not at its peak, it is not something that a half-step Grandmaster can match. "You are not a half-step master, you have made a breakthrough." Tianming stared at Xiao Wuji with a voice of shock and anger. He could not think of any other possibility. The only possibility was that Xiao Wuji had broken through, so he could defeat his killing move. Xiao Wuji was known as the first person under the Grand Master. Comments on the Tianji list also said that Xiao Wuji possesses peerless magical skills, and all his sword and palm skills are extremely powerful. At full combat power, he can rival the strong masters in the early stage of the Grand Master. At this moment, Xiao Wuji has broken through, and with this fierce sword skill, it would be logical to defeat his ultimate move. "There's a reward for guessing it right, I'll give you death." Xiao Wuji sneered, and then raised the snow-drinking sword again. "Damn it!" When Tianming saw this, he cursed secretly and immediately changed direction and fled. If he was at his peak at this moment, he would naturally not be afraid of Xiao Wuji. But at this moment, he was seriously injured and it was impossible to escape in a short time. Xiao Wuji was defeated in a short time. As long as he delayed a little time, Zhou Chunkai would catch up. When he and Xiao Wuji join forces, he will definitely die. Therefore, Tianming doesn't want to fight Xiao Wuji at all, he just wants to escape. "You can't escape. Dominate the world." Xiao Wuji swung his sword and fell. Suddenly ghosts cried and howled, and the color of the world changed. Although there was only one sword, thousands of sword lights bloomed. The sword light roared, carrying extremely cold and sharp murderous intent, sweeping across the surrounding area. Boom! 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 Knife! Wherever the light went, the earth exploded and gravel shot out. Tianming shot out, vomiting blood, and hit a boulder in the distance, smashing the boulder into pieces. A bloody severed arm flew into the air and was the dissipated sword energy tore into blood mist. Tianming was injured more and more, and one of his arms was cut off. He had completely lost the chance to escape. Seeing that the leader was seriously injured, all the members of the Tianming sect rushed towards Xiao Wuji. "Want to save Tianming? Kill Xiao Wuji and rescue the leader. Damn the court eagle dog, go to hell. Leader, we are here to save you." The followers of the Tianming sect regard Tianming as a god and are extremely fanatical about him. At this moment, in order to save him, they did not care about their own life and death, and quickly broke through the encirclement of the Jinyai Wei and rushed towards Xiao Wuji. Court death. Xiao Wuji glanced at the group of rebels with cold eyes, and the Suian mad saber fell instantly. One strike will kill, whether there is death or life. The sword energy was wrapped in the icy cold air and whizzed out, heavily crushing a group of Destiny cult believers. The fastest one went up. Hundreds of Destiny cult members were chopped into blood mist by the sword energy, and hundreds of people behind were frozen by the cold air. At a glance, there was a knife mark on the ground. At the end of the knife mark was a world of ice and snow, with hundreds of ice sculptures standing tall. But the breeze blew, and all the ice sculptures were shattered and turned into ice shavings and dissipated. The 6 techniques of Aehan, which sealed 3 feet of ice, were really overqualified for killing this group of ants. However, the followers of the Destiny sect at the rear were still fearless of death and continued to fight one after another. He came towards Xiaowuji. The brainwashed and stupid puppet could not be judged by common sense. At this moment, Zhou Chunkaiu had also caught up. A sword light fell, killing dozens of people in an instant. He turned over and fell, blocking Tianming's retreat. He formed a pincer attack with Xiaowuji. Zhou Chunkaiu looked at Xiaowuji with a somewhat shocked look, and asked Wuji, "Have you made a breakthrough?" Xiaowuji said, "The reason why I broke through before the war was because I never told my second brother because I wanted to surprise him." Zhou Chunkaiu said with a smile, "It's good to be surprised. It's because of surprise that we can catch Tianming off guard." After saying that, Zhou Chunkaiu looked at Tianming and shouted coldly, "Tianming, what else do you have to say now? You have completely failed, just let it go." Zhou Chunkaiu did not kill him immediately. It was obvious that he wanted to capture Tianming alive. As the leader of the Tianming sect and the leader of the rebellion, if Tianming could be escorted back to Jinling and publicly executed in front of the world, the effect would definitely be better than killing him now. He is better. Tianming's head can greatly enhance the majesty of the court, frighten those rebels with evil intentions in the world, and can also win the hearts of the emperor. Tianming covered his chest with his remaining arm, vomiting blood, and said with a smile, "Do you want me to surrender, King Zhao's hands and capture him? Dream. Even if I die, I will support you all. Guys, kill these imperial eagle dogs." Tianming roared loudly, and the followers of Tianming sect roared in response, becoming even crazier. Sure enough, these are a bunch of lunatics. Xiaowuji and Zhou Chunkaiu's expressions instantly darkened. "Since you are stubborn, then die here." Before Zhou Chunkaiu finished speaking, Xiaowuji had already taken action first. What nonsense could a lunatic like Tianming talk about? Just kill him and it will be over. Kill the god with one strike. Xiaowuji swung his sword, and Suian's sword slashed across it, leaving behind a series of after-images. At this moment, Tianming seemed to see a dozen knives in Xiaowuji's hand. Suddenly, a flash of sword light passed through his eyes, and he tore apart instantly. Split his pupils. Shadow clone. Destiny roared, splitting into 2, 2 into 4, and 4 into 8 in an instant, turning into 8 figures and rushing towards 8 directions. But he was fast. Xiaowuji's knife was faster than him. The light of the knife cut through the sky, and it flashed. Passed away, splitting the 8 after-images into pieces in an instant. 7 of the after-images shattered and turned into real essence and dissipated. The eyes of the last Destiny deity were dull, and a bloodline split between the eyebrows. The snow line extended from the center of the eyebrows to the nose, mouth, and throat, all the way through the body. With a puff, blood spurted out from the tail. Tianming's body turned into 2 halves, fell from mid-air, and was twisted and deformed. At this point, Tianming, the leader of the Tianming sect, died. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Martial arts, become invincible starting from the full level magic system. Author, Drunk in March at West Lake. Chapter 213. What a quick cut. Zhou Chunkaiu, who took a step late in taking action, was secretly shocked. He lamented the speed with which Xiao Wuji drew his sword, and also lamented the speed with which he swung the sword. Of course, what impressed him most was Xiao Wuji's decisiveness in killing. Xiao Wuji was different from him. He doesn't like to talk nonsense. When Tianming refused to surrender, he immediately took action and killed with one strike. This kind of character was exactly the same as what Yuan Xiong said to him. The members of the Tianming sect who rushed up stopped for a moment when they saw Tianming being killed. Then the eyes instantly turned red. The leader is dead. Kill. Kill them to avenge the leader. Fight with these imperial eagle dogs until death. The one who has been destined by destiny, chooses the emperor on behalf of heaven, guides people to do good, and makes the world unified. The one who has been destined by destiny, chooses the emperor on behalf of heaven, guides people to do good, and makes the world unified. The one who has been destined by destiny, chooses the emperor on behalf of heaven, guides people to do good, and makes the world unified. For a sect, if the leader dies, the fighting spirit of the followers will instantly collapse, and the disciples will flee in confusion. This was the case when Xiao Wuji destroyed the evil blood section. Once the 5 elders of the evil blood sect died, the evil blood sect the disciple collapsed. But the members of the Tianming sect were different. Tianming's death not only did not make them collapse, but instead aroused their bloody nature, and the fighting became even crazier. The members of the Tianming sect shouted out the teachings of the Tianming sect in unison, like madmen killing Jin Yiwei. Even if their arms were cut off and their eyes were blinded, they did not stop. They only wanted to fight Jin Yiwei to death. How crazy! Xiao Wuji felt this in his heart. This is not the first time he has seen the madness of the Destiny cult members. They will not stop until they are all killed. Kill them, leave no one behind. Zhou Chunkai looked gloomy and gave the order coldly. The black shadow flashed, and Zhou Chunkai had already entered the crowd. The sword light flew up the mountain, and the broken limbs flew around, bringing up a large amount of blood. 247. Xiao Wuji's eyes were cold, and he charged into the crowd with a knife. The sword flashed across the sky, blood spattered, and screams continued. There was no need to use any powerful sword skills. Xiao Wuji only needed to lightly swing the knife. The most common basic sword skills could also exert unparalleled power at this moment. As long as anyone gets close to his killing range, they will be torn apart by the sword energy and die without a whole body. Xiao Wuji and Zhou Chunkai each cut their own way out with one sword. Lei Bie, Fan Kaija, and others led the Jin Yiwei to fight out from behind, joined Xiao Wuji and Zhou Chunkai. After a series of killings, all the disciples of the Destiny sect were wiped out. Corpses were scattered all over the field, blood flowed into rivers, and there were less than 20 people left. Before the war started, there were more than 2,000 members of the Destiny sect. But at the end of the fight, their minds collapsed and they knelt down to beg for mercy. Only less than 20 people survived, which shows the madness of the Destiny sect. These few people were captured alive and interrogated carefully. They must ask for more information about the Destiny sect, especially the location of the other churches of the Destiny sect and the location of the main altar of the Destiny section. Zhou Chunkai ordered. The subordinates obeyed. Lei Bie and others responded with clasped fists. The members of the Destiny sect are widely distributed and have a large number of people. Today, only the elite of the Destiny sect have been eradicated, and there are still many fish that have slipped through the net. Especially Ningbiu, the deputy leader of the Destiny sect, has been there from the beginning to the end. None of them showed up. If these fish that slipped through the net are not completely eradicated, the Destiny sect will not be considered dead, and will resurgence sooner or later. In the past 300 years or so, the elites of the Destiny sect have been wiped out many times, but they have resurrected every time. It is easy to defeat the Destiny sect, but it is very difficult to completely eliminate the Destiny sect. Xiao Wuji walked to Zhou Chunkaiu and said, no matter what, the elite of the Destiny sect have been eliminated by us. At least the situation in northern Xinjiang can be stabilized. And in the next few decades, the Destiny sect will not come out to cause trouble again, ACI. Zhou Chunkaiu nodded and said, that's true. Now I can finally breathe a sigh of relief. Today, you have made the first contribution to eradicate the Tianming sect, Wuji. If you hadn't killed several elders of the Tianming sect and then killed Tianming, we wouldn't have won so easily. When I return to Jinling, I will definitely ask for your merits in front of His Majesty. Xiao Wuji smiled and said, this is not my fault alone. If you hadn't injured Tianming, my second brother, how could I have killed Tianming? The first achievement should be the second brother's. Zhou Chunkaiu laughed loudly, patted Xiao Wuji on the shoulder and said, you and I are brothers, so don't be humble to each other here. Let's go and take a look at Huajiazhuang to see if there are any hidden traitors from the Destiny section. Then, Zhou Chunkaiu greeted Xiao Wuji to enter Huajiazhuang. Before leaving, Xiao Wuji suddenly frowned and looked at the mountains behind Huajiazhuang. Xiao Wuji's eyes were sharp, looking at the mountains like an eagle and a wolf. At the cliff on the mountainside. Although it was far away, nothing could be seen with the naked eye. But Xiao Wuji was very sure that someone on the cliff on the mountainside was looking at Huajiazhuang. At the same moment, Ningbiu on the cliff was just as Xiao Wuji expected. He kept looking at Huajiazhuang without moving away for a moment. He watched the entire process of Jin Yiwei's annihilation of the Destiny sect from beginning to end. Although he couldn't see the clear picture, he could see the blurry scene of Jin Yiwei cleaning the battlefield. This can already be proved that Jin Yiwei was cleaning the battlefield. Won the final victory. The Tianming cult suffered heavy casualties, Tianming had been killed. What a pity. Tianming was considered a great hero, but he died in the hands of Jin Yiwei in the end. What a pity, what a pity. After a long time, Ningbiu shook his head slightly and sighed. Behind Ningbiu, the second elder of the Tianming sect said expressionlessly, as the leader of the Tianming sect, Tianming sacrificed himself for martyrdom, so he died a worthy death. Ningbiu sneered and said mockingly, aren't you also an elder of the Destiny sect? Why are you greedy for life and afraid of death, and unwilling to die as a martyr? The second elder lowered his head and said with some awe, since the day I followed my master, I am no longer a member of the Destiny section. Oh? Then who are you? Ning Biu asked. The second elder knelt on one knee and said respectfully, I am just a dog of my master. If my master tells me to go east, I will go east. If my master tells me to go west, I will go west. Ning Biu turned around, looked at the second elder, and sneered playfully, then what if I let you die? The second elder was shocked, his body trembled, his breathing became a little rapid, and he said with trembling fear, then this subordinate will die. Ningbiu looked at the second elder expressionlessly and said nothing, which made the second elder more and more frightened. Finally, Ningbiu smiled and said lightly, okay, get up, don't be so scared. I am not a tiger and will not eat you. As long as you are obedient and do things faithfully, I will not treat you badly. The second elder breathed a sigh of relief, suppressed the panic in his heart, and said respectfully, I understand. Okay, let's get down to business. Ningbiu waved his sleeves and ordered, according to the plan, all the remaining members of the Destiny sect will be moved to the designated location. As well as all the gold, silver, weapons, and magical secrets in the Tianming sect's main altar, all have been transferred. I will send Sky Star and Tianyi Star to assist you. If anyone dares to resist, they will be killed without mercy. The second elder's heart trembled, and he cupped his hands and said, I obey. Go ahead. The subordinate resigned. The second elder turned and left. At the end of the cliff, there were two middle-aged men standing with their arms crossed, waiting for him. These two people are the Sky Star and Tianyi Star that Ningbiu said. On the surface, Ningbiao sent him to assist the second elder. The elder was actually monitoring him. If the second elder dared to violate the law, Sky Star and Tianyi Xing would kill him. The second elder left in fear. In fact, even without Sky Star and Tianyi Star, he would not dare disobeying Ningbiao's orders. Because he knows Ningbiao's true identity and how terrible a person Ningbiao is. Sky Star and Tianyi Star are both the masters of the demon sect Tiangang Hall, and Ningbiao can command and drive them. Really, the identity can be imagined. Ningbiao is not the deputy leader of the Destiny section. His true identity is the protector of the demon sect and Kang Emperor, one of the 6 emperors. The Jinyue only found out that the chaos in northern Xinjiang was controlled by the Destiny sect behind the scenes, but I don't know, but the demon sect is actually plotting secretly. It's just that the Destiny sect is so popular that it attracts everyone's attention. However, the demon sect's whereabouts are secretive and have never been known to anyone. Zhou Chunkaiu and Xiao Wuji led people to search Huajiazhuang from top to bottom, but no hidden traitors of the Destiny sect were found. After collecting the bodies of Jin Yiwei who died in the battle, the group embarked on the road back. Although the elite of the Destiny sect were eliminated during this trip, the casualties of the Jin Yiwei were also considerable. More than 20 people from hundreds of households were killed in the battle, hundreds of people from the general banner and small banners, and even more powerful men. After statistics, the number of Jinyue casualties exceeded 600. In fact, the number of casualties suffered by Jinyue was not that many at the beginning, but after Tianming died, the Tianming cult members went crazy and launched a suicide attack without fear of death. Many Jinyue died together with the members of the Destiny sect. Compared with the more than 2,000 people killed in the Tianming sect, 600 people were less than 1/3. But the casualties were still too great. 600 lives, plus the loss of troops in the previous battle. In this rebellion in northern Xinjiang, more than 1,500 Jinyue were killed. Except for the crusade against the demon cult, this was the first time that Jinyue suffered such heavy casualties. After returning to Daesu, Zhou Chunkaiu sent special personnel to inform the imperial troops in various places that the Tianming sect had been eliminated, allowing them to take the opportunity to suppress the refugee rebels. Unless the Tianming sect is completely eradicated, Zhou Chunkaiu will not be able to sleep well. The prison of thousands of households in Daesu was dark and dark, but the candlelight illuminated the prison as bright as day. Xiao Wuji was sitting in a clean cell, drinking alone. There was not only fine wine on the table, but also soy sauce beef and fish. Zhou Chunkaiu asked him to be responsible for the interrogation, but the interrogation did not require him to take action personally. It's just an interrogation of a few frightened members of the Destiny section. It doesn't require any means at all. The people under my command are enough to do it for them. Ah! Spare your life, spare your life. I say it all. Xiao Wuji listened to the screams and begging for mercy in his ears, drinking wine and eating meat leisurely. At first, Xiao Wuji was not used to this kind of eating place, but over time, he got used to it. Soon, the screams suddenly, Shuehua came in and reported respectfully, "Sir," I asked. The remaining Tianming churches are located in Fuan County, Yong'an County, and Guiyang County in Daesu, as well as Liufanjiayuan, Zixi Restaurant, Sanyang Gambling House, Jishui County, and Pingyang County in Minzhou Prefecture. As soon as Shuehua finished speaking, Song Liman also walked in and said respectfully, "Master Qi, the traitor has told us that the main altar of the Destiny sect is in the mountains of Black Snake Mountain in Minzhou. He knows the route to the mountain and is willing to lead us. Martial arts, become invincible starting from the full-level magic system." Author, Drunk in March at West Lake. Chapter 214. Lord Qi, the traitor has told us that the main altar of the Destiny sect is in the mountains of Black Snake Mountain in Minzhou. He knows the route into the mountain and is willing to lead the way for us. Xiao Wuji drank a glass of wine and said calmly, "Have you confirmed the authenticity of the information? Don't be fooled." Shui Hua smiled and said, "Don't worry, sir. I have interrogated 6 people one after another and compared them repeatedly. There will be no mistakes." Song Liman also said, "My subordinates interrogated 12 people, and their confessions were basically consistent, so there is nothing wrong." Xiao Wuji nodded, "That's good." Then, Xiao Wuji finished the food and wine on the table, drank all the wine in the jug, and took the confession to Zhou Chunkaiu. In the lobby of Qinhuizhuo, Xiao Wuji handed the confession to Zhou Chunkaiu. Zhou Chunkaiu, after reading the confession, he nodded slightly and said with a smile, "Wuji, you are really vigorous and resolute in what you do. Not long after you came back, you have already produced so much information through interrogation. As expected, Yuan Xiong, the 3rd child, did not praise you in vain." Xiao Wuji said, "Now that the confession has been made, and the location of the Tianming sex hall and main altar is also known, people should be sent to encircle and suppress it immediately. Otherwise, once they learn the news of Tianming's murder, I'm afraid they will move quickly. It was too late for us to go to the evening." Zhou Chunkaiu put down his confession, nodded and said, "You are right, that's what I meant. However, the follow-up matters of quelling the refugee rebels still need to be negotiated between me and the generals. I can't leave, so I can only take the trouble of you to take people there." Xiao Wuji nodded and said, "Okay, I'll take the people out now." Zhou Chunkaiu said, "Be careful, don't be careless. Although Tianming is dead, Ningbaiu is still there, and the Tianming sect is still in danger. There are some hidden weapons and poisons that even the strong masters are not immune to. You must be careful. And the mole within us." Speaking of the traitor, Zhou Chunkaiu's face suddenly darkened, and he said in a low voice, "In this crusade against Tianming, the traitor has not shown any signs of it. He is probably still hiding among us. You are now a thorn in the side of the Destiny sect, so be careful." Xiao Wuji nodded and said, "Second brother, don't worry, I will pay attention." "Well, go ahead." The younger brother said goodbye. Xiao Wuji clasped his fists and said something, turned around and strode away. After that, Xiao Wuji took his Jin Yiwei team, Lei Ba team and Zhao Wuking team and set off for Minzhou. There is Zhou Chunkaiu in Daizhu, and those halls Kaozhuo Chunkaiu will send people to sweep away. Xiao Wuji only needs to be responsible for the altar and lair in Minzhou. Under the moonlit night, Ningbaiu stood with his hands behind his hands, looking up at the bright moon in the sky. Phew! Suddenly an eagle whistle came. Only the bright moon was seen. In the sky, a small black dot suddenly appeared. The small black dot grew larger and larger, revealing its true appearance. It was a flying eagle. The flying eagle has strong wings, more than 1 meter in length, and a wingspan of more than 2 meters. Its body is majestic, like a pair of eagles. Looking down at the earth and looking down at the sky, it shows the majesty of the overlord of the sky. This is not an ordinary flying eagle, but Heidongking, the best among eagles. There is an old saying that there are divine eagles in Liaodong, and the most handsome one is called Heidongking. There is only one Heidongking among 100,000 flying eagles. If Xiao Wuji were here, he would definitely recognize it. This Heidongking is the one he had seen before. Heidongking hovered in the sky and flapped slightly. The wings had already flown dozens of meters. Ningbaiu whistled, and Heidongqing heard it. Heidongqing swooped down, like a sharp arrow piercing the sky, leaving only an after-image. Heidongqing came to Ning in front of Baiyu, he gently flapped his wings to slow down, and finally stood on Ningbaiu's arm. This Heidongqing was specially trained by the demon sect to deliver messages. With this flying eagle, the demon sect's intelligence can always be superior to others. One step. There are very few people in the world who can train a flying eagle to pass messages, let alone Heidongqing. Ningbaiu took a piece of paper from Heidongqing's feet, raised his arm and sent the flying eagle to fly into the sky. Open the paper after the article, there is only one sentence, 7 words. Xiao Wuji is coming to Minzhou. The content is concise and clear, but it is enough. After Ningbai read the note, a sneer appeared at the corner of his mouth, and his eyes flashed coldly. The flames burned in the palm of his hand, burning the note into ashes. Then, Ningbai shouted, "Here comes someone." As soon as he finished speaking, a black shadow came to Ningbai and bowed his head to obey his orders. Ningbai said, "Send the order to Sky Star and Tianyi Star to speed up. I will see the result before the early morning of tomorrow." "Yes." The black man bowed his head in response and disappeared instantly. Ningbai stood with his hands behind his back, looked up at the sky, and smiled lowly. "Xiao Wuji, we will meet soon. I would like to see how powerful this young boy can be who can make the Ghost Emperor miserable." Although the Ghost Emperor's 7 killers and devouring souls are dead, the names of 2 people have spread throughout the demon sect. One is naturally Nangongye, who killed the Ghost Emperor with his own hands, and the other is the one who repeatedly sabotaged the Ghost Emperor's plans and killed the devil. Xiao Wuji, who teaches many Tiangang Hall masters. These 2 people are the targets of the demon sect that must be eradicated. On this trip, Kang Emperor Ningbai was ordered to come to northern Xinjiang in order to guide the Tianming sect to stir up the situation in northern Xinjiang. Both through the Tianming sect, he used his own hands to weaken the power of the imperial court and consume the people's hearts. At the same time, he also used the power of the imperial court to eradicate the destiny sect, and the demon sect secretly benefited. Now there is chaos in the northern Xinjiang, and the people have suffered heavy casualties, and Emperor Jingtai has lost the hearts of the people. The elite of the destiny sect have also been killed by the Jinyi guards eradicate. Emperor Kang has led people to plunder the wealth, magical secrets, and remaining followers of the destiny sect accumulated over the past century. As a result, the strength of the demonic sect has greatly increased. In the chaos in northern Xinjiang, both the imperial court and the destiny sect lost, and the only winner is the demon sect. And until now, the people in the imperial court and the destiny sect don't know that the demon sect participated in the northern Xinjiang rebellion. This force that has never shown up has become the biggest winner, which shows how many plans the demon sect has. Zhou. All of this was planned by Kang Emperor Ningbai behind the scenes. Now that the plan has been successful, the demon sect has won a complete victory, and logically it can retreat. But Ningbai still wants more. He has heard about Xiao Wuji a long time ago. This demon sect was a formidable enemy, and he wanted to take advantage of this opportunity to eradicate Xiao Wuji as well as the icing on the cake. At noon the next day, Xiao Wuji and his party arrived at Minzhou. After arriving at Minzhou, Xiao Wuji did not stop for a moment. He took people to Liufanjiayuan. This is the white glove planted by the Tianming sect in Minzhou. In addition to collecting money, it also has the function of gathering intelligence. As the largest brothel in Minzhou, Liufanjiayuan covers a large area and is extremely luxuriously decorated. It is the highest official position in Minzhou. A place frequented by nobles. Even if a refugee rebellion breaks out in northern Xinjiang, Liufang Garden's business is still extremely prosperous. No matter day or night, Liufang Garden is always overcrowded. However, today, when Xiao Wuji led people to Liufang Garden but it was peaceful and deserted. When Xiao Wuji and his men broke in, they saw nothing but mess on the ground. The most prosperous and bustling brothel in Minzhou was empty of people overnight, and not even a ghost could be seen. Xiao Wuji shouted coldly with an expressionless face, "Search." The order was issued, and many Jinyi guards filed in and searched every inch of Liufang Garden. Soon, Shuihua and Song Liman came back with their men. "Lord Qi, I didn't find it." "No one. Not only are there no people, there aren't even any cats or dogs. All money has been transferred. We found several secret rooms, but the contents had been burned to ashes, leaving nothing behind. Everyone's search result was the same, nothing was found. The action is so fast. Xiao Wuji secretly thought. After wiping out the elites of the Destiny sect, they rushed to Minzhou as soon as possible, but they were still a step late. Looking at the current situation, even a fool knows that the people of the Destiny sect have moved. Walk out. In Liufang Garden, Xiao Wuji's face looked a little ugly. At this moment, Lei Bie and Zhao Wuqing came back with their troops. Lei Bie said the Zixi restaurant has been burned to ashes by the fire, and nothing is left. I sent someone to ask the people around me that the Zixi restaurant caught fire last night. The fire was only extinguished in the early hours of this morning. The restaurant owner and the waiter were all burned to death. Zhao Wuqing said Sanyang gambling house is also empty. According to the noise heard by the neighbors next door, they left last night. Xiao Wuji smiled, a little mockingly, that is to say, we came here after a long journey and found nothing, not even a copper plate. Lei Ba's face was gloomy, and he said bitterly, the people of the Tianming sect move too fast, it's really abominable. Zhao Wuqing also looked unwilling. If the Destiny sect cannot be completely eliminated this time, they will definitely resurrect. Xiao Wuji raised his head and glanced outside the city, and said coldly, let's go directly to the Black Snake Mountain Destiny sect main altar. Lei Bie was shocked when he heard this and tried to dissuade him. There are countless organs in the Tianming sect's main altar. If you go there rashly, you may be ambushed. It's better to send a few people to explore the road first. Once we find out where the mechanism is, it won't be too late for us to take action. Zhao Wuqing also agreed with Lei Ba's proposal and said what Lei Qinhu said is reasonable. Mr. Xiao should not be too impulsive. Xiao Wuji said expressionlessly, we have already taken a step too late. If we take it any longer, there will be nothing left. I have made up my mind to leave now. After saying that, Xiao Wuji got on his horse. Seeing that Xiao Wuji had made up his mind, Lei Bie and Zhao Wuqing looked at each other and reluctantly agreed. After all, Xiao Wuji is the highest officer in this operation, and he is also the strongest. Facing Xiao Wuji's order, they could only obey. Then the two of them got on their horses and followed Xiao Wuji to the Black Snake Mountain outside the city. The Black Snake Mountain is steep and steep. Looking down from the sky, the entire Black Snake Mountain looks like a huge. The black snakes are crawling on the ground. The mountains are swarmed with ferocious beasts and filled with poisonous miasma and countless poisonous insects and poisonous ants. Outsiders dare not approach them at all. Legend has it that no one who went to Black Snake Mountain came back alive. Xiao Wuji brought people here. Arriving at the foot of Black Snake Mountain, Xuehua and Song Liman each drove two prisoners with their hands and feet tied in chains. They were both believers of the Destiny sect and were used as guides by Xiao Wuji at this moment. As long as you take us to the Tianming cult headquarters, you will be able to survive. Otherwise, you will know what life is worse than death. When Xiao Wuji's cold voice fell, the four prisoners immediately trembled and nodded in unison, yes, yes, we must lead the way. Led by four Destiny cult believers, Xiao Wuji and his party entered Black Snake Mountain. Through secret paths and secret passages, Xiao Wuji and his party arrived at the center of Black Snake Mountain. This is the central area of Black Snake Mountain, and the terrain sank to form a basin. The main altar of the Destiny sect is here. Martial arts, become invincible starting from the full-level magic system. Author, Drunk in March at West Lake. Chapter 215. We didn't trigger any traps or encounter ambushes along the way. It seems that these four people are really honest. That is, with Xiao Qinhu here, how dare they be dishonest? Xiao Qinhu's life and death talisman is not something that just anyone can bear. It's no joke that you can't live without dying. A group of Jinyaiwei whispered to each other and discussed with each other. Many Jinyaiwei Beihu also relaxed a little. But Xiao Wuji, Lei Bie and Zhao Wuqing, the 3,000 households, did not relax their vigilance. The closer to the last moment, the less careless they can be. When it comes to destiny, at the main altar, Xiao Wuji saw at a glance that the gate of the Tianming sect was wide open, and there were blood stains on the door and on the ground. The Tianming sect members were lying on the ground, already turned into corpses. The smell of blood in the air had not yet dissipated, proving that these people died not long ago. What's happening here? Is the Destiny sect in civil strife? Lei Bie and Zhao Wuqing showed doubts on their faces. Xiao Wuji said, "Go in and take a look, let everyone be careful." Then Xiao Wuji took the lead and led everyone into the Tianming sect's mountain gate. Behind the mountain gate is a huge bluestone square, but at this moment, the square is full of corpses, at least 200 to 300 people. The bluestone floor has been stained red with blood, and it is everywhere. Knife marks, sword marks, and other battle marks. Was the Destiny sect exterminated by Tuzong? Lei Bie and Zhao Wuqing's eyes widened. Many Jinyaiwei 287 were also dumbfounded at this moment. They thought there would be a big battle when they came to the Destiny sect General Forum, but they didn't expect that there was not a single living person, and all they saw were dead people. Search to see if there are any survivors. Xiao Wuji issued the order. All the main halls, side halls, alchemy rooms, weapons depots, and all the places that could be searched were searched. Except for corpses, there were not even half a living person. Like Liufang Garden and Zixi Restaurant, all gold, silver, treasures, weapons, elixirs, and magical secrets were all transferred away. What Xiao Wuji got was just an empty shell. Xiao Qinhu, this is wrong. Lei Bie came behind Xiao Wuji with a solemn expression. The same was true for Zhao Wuqing. None of them were idiots. They understood it after just a moment's thought. Someone must have got ahead of them, destroyed the Destiny sect, and transferred the destiny. All the gold and silver treasures and martial arts secrets taught by the sect. These things are the most precious things of the Destiny sect. Originally, these were supposed to be the spoils of Jinyaiwei, but now all that is left to Jinyaiwei is an empty Destiny sect mountain gate. Jinyaiwei has been used as a knife. The Jinyaiwei did the killing and desperate work, but the spoils were harvested by the secret hands. They were all used by others. Killing with a borrowed knife? No one likes to be used. When they think of this, Lei Bie and Zhao Wuqing feel resentful and angry. His whole body was shaking. Xiao Wuji was different from Lei Bie. His mentality was very stable. Interesting, this is getting more and more interesting. Xiao Wuji stood in front of the Tianming sect's main hall, looking at the empty mountain gate, with the corner of his mouth slightly raised, revealing a sneer. "Let's go back," Xiao Wuji said. "Go back? Just go back empty-handed?" Lei Bie and Zhao Wuqing's eyes widened and they looked unwilling. They came all the way from Daesu overnight to eradicate the remnants of the Destiny sect and search for loot. But now they got nothing. They just returned empty-handed. "How do you explain it to Zhou Chunkai when you go back?" Xiao Wuji said, "I will explain it to my second brother. The main altar of the Destiny sect has been destroyed. We won't be able to get any useful clues if we stay here. Take people away immediately, otherwise things will change if you wait too long." Boom. 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 Before Xiao Wuji could finish his words, there was suddenly a series of loud noises. Several side halls of the Tianming sect exploded and instantly turned into a sea of fire. "No, there's an ambush." Lei Ba's eyes were splitting, and he immediately flew to save people. But it was too late. At the moment of the explosion, all the Jinyi guards in the side hall were dead, and only a few people outside the hall survived. "The damn Destiny sect actually set up an ambush, I can't spare them." Lei Bie looked at the bodies of his dead men and was so angry that he looked up to the sky and roared. "This is not an ambush, this is a trap." Xiao Wuji looked at the ruins that turned into a sea of fire and said, "This is what was left by the Black Hands who destroyed the Tianming section. They left this method behind to use it against us. As long as our people search the side hall, the mechanism will be triggered." Lei Ba was so angry that his face was livid, veins popped up on his forehead, and he gritted his teeth. "I will never let these damn traitors go." Xiao Wuji ordered, "Let everyone withdraw and leave immediately. There are still many mechanisms in this mountain gate, so there is no need to let the brothers die in vain." After the order was issued, all the Jinyai evacuated. Following the mountain road they came in, Xiao Wuji and his party left Black Snake Mountain safely. This surprise attack on the Tianming sect's main altar obviously failed again. Not only did they get nothing, but they also lost dozens of people. Jinyai Wei's life. When thinking of dozens of brothers losing their lives in vain, everyone felt extremely heavy. They also hated the mastermind hidden in the dark. Xiao Wuji glanced at the crowd expressionlessly, with a hint of gloom in his eyes. Through this he was 100% sure that the traitor in Jinyi Wei was hiding among the people behind him when it came to the Tianming sect General Forum. It was precisely because the traitor tipped off the information that the mastermind behind the scenes knew their actions very well. Not only was he one step ahead of them in everything, move all the gold and silver treasures, martial arts secrets, and manpower from the entrance to the Destiny Church and the main altar, and also set up a mechanism to invite you into the urn. If this traitor is not found, Xiao Wuji will remain passive. Looking away, Xiao Wuji looked towards the sky above his head. I took a look. Sure enough, there was a small black spot in the sky. The flying eagle appeared again. That night, Xiao Wuji and his party were resting at Min Zouqianhu house. In the room, Xiao Wuji sat cross-legged, working on his skills. Suddenly, the candle light in the room flickered, and Xiao Wuji opened his eyes instantly. A cry sounded in his ears at the same time, "Come quickly, there is an assassin, come and catch the assassin." Xiao Wuji immediately stood up and rushed out of the door. He saw torches flashing in the courtyard, and guards in uniforms were walking around. There were waves of shouts from the courtyard on the left. "What happened?" Xiao Wuji asked. Shuehua hurried over and reported some gangsters invaded Qinhu station, and Zhao Qinhu was assassinated. "How is he? Are you okay?" "Zhao Qinhu is fine. He has already chased me out. Lei Qinhu has also chased me out. Lu Gang asked me to inform you." Xiao Wuji was thoughtful and said in a cold voice, "I'll go take a look. You guard Qinhu station and search to see if there are any criminals hiding there." After saying that, Xiao Wuji turned into a flash of lightning and disappeared. Under the moonlit night, Minzhou city was completely dark, with only the lanterns on the streets emitting a faint light. Xiao Wuji had excellent eyesight and saw three figures one after another in the dark night. Running hurriedly in the dark night. The person in the front was completely dressed in night clothes, but his true face was invisible. The two people in the back were Zhao Wuqing and Lei Ba. Following the three of them, Xiao Wuji came to a forest outside Minzhou city. Whoosh! 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 For one after another, the Taoist figures arrived in the woods one after another. The man in black stood with his hands behind his back, and the three of them, Xiao Wuji, stood together. I really didn't expect that the three Qinhu would actually chase him out together, which saved me a lot of effort. The man in black said calmly. Xiao Wuji said expressionlessly, "There is no need to pretend to be a ghost in front of me, just show your true self." The man in black smiled and said, "Do you know who I am?" Xiao Wuji said, "Besides Ningbiu, the deputy leader of the Destiny sect, who else could it be?" The man in black laughed loudly, clapped his hands and praised, "Xiao Wuji is indeed Xiao Wuji. He is really quick thinking and a smart man. He is completely different from the two idiots around you." As soon as he finished speaking, the night clothes of the man in black exploded, revealing his true face. Just as Xiao Wuji said, This person was Ningbiu, the deputy leader of the Destiny sect. Ningbiu looked at Xiao Wuji and said, "This is the second time we meet. Come on, Xiao Wuji. I have heard of your name a long time ago, but I have never had the chance to see you before. But through these two contacts, I know that your ability is worthy of your reputation." Xiao Wuji said expressionlessly, "You don't need to be a traitor to evaluate my abilities." Ningbiu laughed sarcastically, "Traitor, what is a rebel? Since ancient times, the capable people in the country have lived in it. Emperor Jingtai was ignorant, causing the country to suffer and all the people to suffer. I will take my place instead, why not?" "Oh? Why do you say that?" Ningbiu asked with a gentle smile. How could a lackey replace his master as emperor? Ningbiu's smile froze, and a trace of anger flashed in his eyes, but he did not lose his composure, but asked in a low voice, "What do you know?" Xiao Wuji said, "I know everything I should know, and I also know what I shouldn't know." Ningbiu's pupils tightened, and then he sneered, "No, you don't know at all, you are deceiving me. I will not be fooled by your sweet words." Xiao Wuji smiled and said, "How do you know that I am just talking nonsense? Then tell me, what do you know?" Xiao Wuji said, "Actually, you are not a member of the Tianming sect, are you? You are a member of the demon cult, 0.9. Xiao Wuji's words were like thunder, exploding in Ningbiu's ears. Ningbiu's expression finally changed, and his face instantly darkened. When Xiao Wuji saw Ningbiu's expression, he smiled in his heart. Sure enough, he guessed it right. In fact, Ningbiu was right. He was deceiving Ningbiu before. Xiao Wuji didn't know Ningbiu's true identity at all. He only knew that Ningbiu was very ambitious and had the ambition to replace Tianming. But what Tianming did next, however, it is inconsistent with his identity. According to common sense, when Tianming was killed and the elders of the Tianming sect were killed and injured, it was natural for Ningbiu, the deputy leader, to replace Tianming and become the leader. He wanted to receive the gold left by the Tianming section. It was easy to obtain silver treasures and martial arts secrets, and no one would oppose him. Ningbiu could transfer all the property and manpower of the Tianming sect with just one word, without killing people at all. But the fact is that Ningbiu killed people, and he couldn't kill them. This proves that there are people within the Destiny sect who are against Ningbiu and are willing to fight to the death. That's why Ningbiu bloodbathed the Destiny sect's general altar. In this case, Xiao Wuji has other speculations about Ningbiu's true identity. And it is related to rebellion and can drive a famous Grand Master like Ningbiu. What are the sects like this? There is no doubt that there is only one demon sect. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Martial arts, become invincible starting from the full level magic system. Author, drunk in March at Westlake. Chapter 216. After confirming these, Xiao Wuji dared to deceive Ningbiu. Xiao Wuji is proficient in the art of disguise and controls his micro-expressions very well without revealing any flaws, so that he looks just like the real thing. And Ningbiu's reaction at that moment had already told Xiao Wuji the answer. He guessed right, Ningbiu was indeed a member of the demon sect. The Destiny sect is just a pawn of Ningbiu. Someone come. Ningbiu's face was livid, and with an order, there was a friction sound in the surrounding woods. Whoosh! 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 4 black shadows flashed past, and 4 figures appeared around them, surrounding Xiao Wuji and the other 3. These 4 people were helpless. With one exception, they were all masters. And there was only one sect in Great Zhou that could dispatch so many masters at once and was related to rebellion. This further verified Xiao Wuji's guess. Xiao Wuji stared at Ningbiu, coldly. He said, "You are indeed a member of the demon cult. Tell me, which one of the 3 demons and 6 emperors of the demon sect are you?" As soon as these words came out, the expressions of Lei Bie and Zhao looking behind him suddenly changed. Lei Bie asked in a trembling voice, Xiaoqianhu, you said that Ningbiu is a member of the demon section, how is this possible? Isn't he the deputy leader of the Destiny sect? Yes, why did the deputy leader of the Destiny sect get involved with the demon sect again? Zhao Wuqing couldn't believe it either. Ningbiu put his hands on his hands and smiled, Xiao Wuji is indeed Xiao Wuji, even if you are smart, I admire you a little bit. But you are too smart. Smart people often die early. I am the Kang Emperor, Xian Yu. Ningbiu stood with his hands behind his back, straightened his back, and said proudly, it is your honor to have the honor to see my true appearance. Of course, you can also call me Ningbiu. After introducing himself, Ningbiu looked at Xiao Wuji and sneered playfully, I also want to know, how did you confirm that I am a member of the demon sect? That idiot Tianming has been with me for so long, but he still hasn't seen through my identity. I pride myself on not showing any flaws. Xiao Wuji looked at Ningbiu in front of him and suddenly laughed, his smile was very sarcastic and he didn't deserve a beating, actually, I don't know, I just guessed and I was deceiving you before. You. Ningbiu broke his guard, his eyes widened in an instant, and the anger in his heart surged, almost making him lose his mind. He was fooled by Xiao Wuji, whom he despised. If he hadn't admitted it just now, Xiao Wuji wouldn't have done it at all. Know his true identity. Xiao Wuji, you really made me angry. Originally, I thought you were a talented person and wanted to recruit you to serve me. But now, I just want to kill you, cut you into pieces, and crush your bones into ashes. Ningbiu rarely gets angry, but tonight he got really angry. He will definitely kill Xiao Wuji. At the same time, the system's electronic sound sounded in Xiao Wuji's mind. Ding, the host triggers a mission, exterminate demons and eliminate rape. It was detected that the demon sect Kang Emperor Xian Yu, Ningbiu, had murderous intentions towards the host, so he teamed up with the traitor Lei Bie to murder the host, and asked the host to kill the two of them. Mission reward, full level Giga Hangjingshu. As soon as the electronic sound of the system ended, Kang Emperor Ningbiu's voice sounded. Go ahead and kill him. Kang Emperor Ningbiu gave an order, and the four great masters around him took action at the same time, killing Lei Bie and Zhao Wuqing. And he himself flew towards Xiao Wuji. Cosmic Flame Palm. Ningbiu flew up, his hands burning with blazing fire, and slapped Xiao Wuji with a palm. The raging flames turned into a giant palm, covering the sky and the sun. Xiao Wuji did not dodge, and faced the flaming giant palm with his backhand. The palm power is powerful, the golden dragon roars, and it is astonishingly the dense clouds and rain of the 18 dragon subduing palms. There is a loud bang, and the huge flaming palm collapses at the touch, turning into a vast amount of pure essence and dissipating. The palm power is broken, Ningbiu flies away, and trembles. He took a dozen steps back and finally knocked a big tree into pieces. Your strength. Ningbiu had a look of horror on his face. Although he had already learned from the traitor that Xiao Wuji had broken through to the Grand Master realm, he did not expect that Xiao Wuji would have such strength just after he broke through. Not only was the overbearing palm power not weaker than his, but it was even stronger than him. It's too early to be surprised. Xiao Wuji smiled coldly and turned around to fly towards Lei Bie and Zhao Wuqing. The two of them were besieged by the four great masters of the demon sect and were already at a disadvantage. Especially the weaker Zhao Wuqing, who had been beaten until he vomited blood. Xiao Wuji's figure swayed, and he teleported in front of the two of them, holding his hands round and pushing forward. Four golden dragons roared upwards, rose into the sky, and hit the four great masters. With a bang, all the four great masters flew upside down. When he came out, his body exploded in mid-air, turning into blood mist and dissipating in the sky. With just one move, the 4 great masters of the demon sect were dead. Are you okay? Bang. Xiao Wuji was about to turn around when suddenly a palm hit him heavily on the back of his heart. The overbearing palm force penetrated his body and hit his internal organs. Xiao Wuji couldn't help but groaned and staggered. After a moment, he threw forward. At the same time, a horrified roar rang out, "Lei Ba, what are you doing?" The person who roared was Zhao Wuqing. He saw with his own eyes that Lei Ba used his full strength and slapped Xiao Wuji hard on the back of the heart. That palm was completely aimed at Xiao Wuji's life. Lei Ba's sudden not only did Xiao Wuji fail to react to the sneak attack, Zhao Wuqing also didn't react. And when they did, it was already too late. After the sneak attack on Xiao Wuji, Lei Ba instantly changed his moves and slapped Zhao Wuqing with a palm, sending Zhao Wuqing flying away. Zhao Wuqing vomited a few mouthfuls of blood and drooped one arm, which was already disabled. Before he landed, Ning Baiyu appeared in an instant. Behind Zhao Wuqing, the palm of his hand turned into a knife and struck hard, and Zhao Wuqing's head flew up. The situation changed too fast. In the blink of an eye, 5 masters were dead in the field. The sneak attack was over, and Lei Ba turned over, withdrew and landed next to Ning Baiyu. Xiao Wuji slowly stood up straight, looked at Lei Ba expressionlessly, and said coldly, "I have doubted many people, but I have never doubted you. I really didn't expect that you would be a traitor." Lei Ba's expression was solemn. He did not show the pride of successfully attacking Xiao Wuji, nor did he show the slightest regret. He said without sadness or joy, "You and I are each our own masters, and we each use our own methods. I'm grateful for your trust in me, but unfortunately, we are not the same person after all." Xiao Wuji asked in a cold voice, "When did you lurk into Jin Yiwei?" Lei Ba said, "It's been many years, so long that even I can't remember it." Xiao Wuji laughed at himself. How could a demon sect master be able to lurk in Jin Yiwei for so many years? It seems that Jin Yiwei is not as impregnable as the rumors say. Ning Baiyu smiled and said, "Of course, the methods of my holy religion are not something you, the imperial eagles, can understand. For the sake of your imminent death, I might as well tell you that in addition to Lei Ba, there are countless secret spies of the holy cult within Jin Yiwei. As soon as the time comes, they will completely dismantle Jin Yiwei from the inside." Looking at the proud Ning Baiyu, Xiao Wuji was really moved by the demon cult's tactics. Who would have thought that Jin Yiwei Kinhu Lei Ba would actually be a traitor planted by the demon cult among the Jin Yi guards? You must know that Lei Ba has joined Jin Yiwei for more than 3 years. 10 years, 30 years of dedicated service, and countless contributions. After Xiao Wuji came to northern Xinjiang, he noticed that there was a traitor within Jin Yiwei, and he was the first to rule out Lei Ba as a suspect. After all, with Lei Ba's qualifications, plus he has never been in contact with the Destiny sect, so there is almost no suspicion on him. But who would have thought that Lei Ba is not a traitor to the Destiny sect at all, but a traitor to the demon sect? This chess piece is hidden too deeply. Last time the demon cult caused trouble in Jinling, why didn't you take the opportunity to take action? Xiao Wuji looked at Lei Ba and asked. Lei Ba said, "I didn't receive the order." Ning Baiyu sneered and said, "That's because even the Ghost Emperor doesn't know that Lei Ba is someone placed by the demon sect within Jin Yiwei." Xiao Wuji said, "It seems that you are indeed an extremely important chess piece, but your chess piece was exposed today." "Don't you think it is a pity?" Ning Baiyu said. "Exposing a chess piece can eliminate you, Xiao Wuji, the proud son of the emperor. It's worth it. Besides, as long as you die, who will know that Lei Ba is a member of my holy religion?" "Okay, I've finished your last words. It's time to send you to hell." Cosmic Flame Palm. Ning Baiyu flew up, used his palms to move, and gathered the power of Heiran's palms. The scorching true energy turned into a fire dragon and struck down at Xiao Wuji. The fire dragon roared and roared, carrying overwhelming power, biting towards Xiaowaji. 807 Xiaowaji stood there, neither dodge nor dodge, and did not even move at all, as if he was closing his eyes and waiting for death. There was a loud bang, and the fire dragon hit Xiaowaji's chest, and then penetrated his body. Then, beat the dozen or so big trees behind them into powder. Wherever the fire dragon's palm passed, a charred passage was left. Ningbiu turned over and landed on the ground, looking at Xiaowaji, who was still standing, and said in a cold voice, "It is your honor to die under the palm of my Kinkan flame." But then, Ningbiu's face changed drastically, and in his eyes there was a flash of horror. Because he saw that not only was Xiaowaji not dead, but he casually patted the chest that was hit by the fire dragon. Not only was he unscathed, but his face looked calm and relaxed. "Is this all you have? Ticking me is not enough." Xiaowaji's voice was flat, full of disdain and contempt. His indifferent eyes looked at Ningbiu, as if looking at an ant. You. Ningbiu's eyes widened in disbelief. "You're not dead." "Impossible, this is absolutely impossible." Ningbiu seemed to have seen a ghost. He knew his own strength best. The slap just now was struck with all his strength. Not to mention just Xiaowaji, even if the second eunuch Zhou Chunkaiu came, he would be beaten. He was seriously injured. Even if Xiaowaji survived this palm, he would definitely not have the strength to speak. But now Xiaowaji is completely intact, as if the slap just now was to tickle him and could not shake him at all. It seems that the Kang Emperor of the demon sect is nothing more than that, far behind the Ghost Emperor. Xiaowaji looked at Ningbiu and smiled ferociously, exuding a bloodthirsty aura. Emperor Kang's strength was almost at the late stage of the Grand Master, but it didn't take long for him to break through. Although he was stronger than Zhou Chunkaiu and Yuan Xiong, he was not much stronger. And the Ghost Emperor's strength is clear to Xiaowaji. He has been completely stabilized in the late stage of the Grand Master, and his overall strength is at least 50% stronger than Ningbiu. At full power, he is twice as strong as Ningbiu. With Ningbiu's palm, not to mention the power of the palm just now, not to mention breaking his 9-yang magic body protecting chi, even the black jade gauze clothes on his body couldn't be broken. Martial arts, become invincible starting from the full-level magic system. Author, Drunk in March at Westlake. Chapter 217. The reason why Xiaowaji stood still and received Ningbiu's palm forcefully was because he wanted to test the defensive power of this mysterious jade gauze garment. It's a rare defensive treasure. I hope I can try it. It also allowed Ningbiu to play a final role before his death. In addition, Ningbiu's slap against Xiaowaji can also be used as evidence in the future. You. Ningbiu looked at Xiaowaji with dull eyes. Fear finally appeared deep in his eyes. He realized that he had underestimated Xiaowaji. Xiaowaji was stronger than he thought. No, it should be said that Xiaowaji was hiding deeper than he thought. Xiaowaji's strength definitely did not just break through to the Grand Master realm. Behind Ningbiu, Lei Bie looked horrified and his whole body was wet with cold sweat. Ningbiu was his source of confidence. Now even Ningbiu can't protect himself, let alone him. The wind swept the building to pieces. Xiaowaji ignored the fear of the two people and suddenly let out a roar. The endless wind suddenly appeared out of thin air, swept around him, and turned into a tornado that enveloped Xiaowaji and swallowed him up. The strong wind swept away and turned into a huge leg shadow, blasting towards Ning in front of him. White feather. Eolian legs. You are Nangong yet? Ningbiu screamed in horror. Before he died, he finally discovered Xiaowaji's biggest secret. Xiaowaji was actually Nangong Ye, whom the demon sect had always wanted to kill. How could he not recognize Fengshen legs? This is the demon sect's sworn enemy. Nangong Ye's unique skill. The blood demon Yuquan returned seriously injured, and Xianzun also failed. They have reported Nangong Ye's martial arts tricks to the demon sect, and the higher UPS of the demon sect know about it. No wonder Nangongye said that he is better than a ghost. The emperor is far away, that's what it means. No. Facing the shadow of the huge leg falling, Ningbiu felt desperate, improved his luck, and exploded all his true energy to form a 3-foot air wall for defense. Unfortunately, the Fengshen leg fell, and Ningbiu's 3-foot air wall was like a piece of paper, which was instantly defeated. The shadow crushed past, and Ningbiu's body exploded, turning into countless blood mist and falling in all directions. After killing Ningbiu, the power of the leg shadow remained unabated, like a train running through the woods behind, destroying everything. You two go with your master. Killing Ningbiu, Xiao Wuji looked at Lei Ba, and hit Lei Ba with the palm of his backhand that tore the sky and dispelled the clouds. Lei Ba couldn't even say a word, and he was already blown up, leaving no bones left. The battle ended in a blink of an eye. Time. Before Ningbiu and Lei Ba could even react, the battle was over. Ding, it has been detected that the host has killed the demon sect Kang Emperor Xianyu and Lei Ba, and has completed the task of exterminating demons and hoeing traitors. Do you want to receive the reward? Receive. Ding, congratulations to the host for obtaining the full level of Giga Hengjingshu. The rewards are being distributed and have been completed. The exquisite and mysterious swordsmanship secret book appeared in Xiao Wuji's mind, and the luminous little man quickly practiced the swordsmanship. Every move and every style was deeply engraved in the depths of Xiao Wuji's mind and could not be forgotten. In an instant, Xiao Wuji was completely different from Giga Heng. The understanding of swordsmanship has reached the full level. The Giga horizontal swordsmanship comes from the world of Qin dynasty. It is inseparable from the Giga vertical swordsmanship. They are inseparable from one another, but each has its own respect, and they attack endlessly. The horizontal swordsmanship is based on the plan, in order to achieve its advantage. Is the vertically attacking the situation with the sword, in order to achieve the truth, it is the closing. The is the way of heaven and earth. The is opening, and the closing is closing, one yin and one yang. The is the way of vertical and horizontal. Xiao Wuji he had already mastered the Giga vertical sword technique before, and now he mastered the Giga horizontal sword technique. Combining vertical and horizontal swordsmanship, Xiao Wuji's sword intent was further enhanced. Xiao Wuji thought in his mind, and the invisible sword intent turned into tangible sword energy hovering around him. His eyes swept across, the sword energy shot out and instantly penetrated the big trees in front of it. Good swordsmanship. Xiao Wuji chuckled, feeling satisfied in his heart. Demon sect Kang Emperor Ningbiu was able to bring Xiao Wuji such a wonderful swordsmanship, and he deserved his death. Dealing with Kang Emperor Xuanyu is much easier than dealing with the Ghost Emperor. This Kang Emperor is not only he is not as strong as the Ghost Emperor, nor as resourceful as the Ghost Emperor, nor as cautious as the Ghost Emperor. The second time I saw Xiao Wuji, I personally brought people to kill him. It was too hasty. Such a reckless and brainless fool, who else would die if he didn't? Not to mention that Xianyu is a villain who talks too much. He obviously doesn't know that villains die because they talk too much. However, after this incident, Xiao Wuji discovered that he still underestimated the methods of the demon cult. The demon cult placed undercover agents. The method is so clever that some undercover agents have been hiding for 20 or 30 years. If they had not taken the initiative to expose themselves, no one would have discovered that they were undercover agents of the demon cult. Before tonight, Xiao Wuji and Lei Ba were close friends, and they could be described as being very close to him. He was quite trusting. But he didn't expect that his trust was a dog-eat-dog. Lei Ba was a traitor to the demon sect, and he was determined to kill him. If Xiao Wuji himself was not strong enough, he would definitely die here tonight. It seems that we can no longer trust others easily in the future. A traitor is as loyal as a traitor. Who knows how many traitors there are in the demon sect within Jin Yiwei? Ningbiu said that there are countless undercover agents within the demon cult. This is obviously an exaggeration. But there are definitely a lot of them. Once the demon cult has an order, these people will definitely betray without hesitation and give Jin Yiwei a fatal blow. Xiao Wuji is here. The people that Fuzi met in Beijing were now on Xiao Wuji's suspicion list. They even included the second eunuch Zhou Chunkaiu, the third eunuch Yuan Xiong, and the ninth eunuch Fan Kaija. The 13 eunuchs of the Great Zhou dynasty were the emperor's most trusted confidants. Their backgrounds will be thoroughly checked countless times. But there is still no guarantee that they are not undercover agents planted by the demon cult. Until the end, no one knows what the truth is. The demon cult wants revenge. The country has been planning for more than 100 years. Who knows how many secret agents they have left behind? How many traitors they have planted? Perhaps the demonic cult has begun planting traitors since the fall of the dynasty more than 100 years ago. Some people are not only traitors themselves, they have been traitors of the demon sect for 3 or even 4 consecutive generations. In this way, their identities and backgrounds are naturally innocent and cannot be investigated. Not only Jin Yiwei, Liuman, and Dong Chang, there are definitely traitors of the demon section. There may also be among the 4 Elephants Legion and the Forbidden Army. These traitors are like time bombs. Once they explode, they will cause unimaginable damage to the Zhou dynasty. The remnants of the previous dynasty and the century-old plan to restore the country are not as simple as I thought. A playful sneer appeared at the corner of Xiao Wuji's lips, and then he turned around and left. It's a pity that he was originally here to save people, but he couldn't save them. However, Xiao Wuji had already thought of the reason for dealing with Zhou Chunkaiu. Stay. The palm print on Suanya gauze is the best ironclad evidence. Returning to Min Zouqianhu office, Shuihua and Song Liman immediately greeted them, and hundreds of households under Lei Ba and Zhao Wuqing also gathered. See Xiaoqianhu. Everyone saluted respectfully. When they saw that only Xiao Wuji came back, everyone's hearts sank. Lu Gang was the first to ask, "Dare I ask Xiaoqianhu, where is Leiqianhu?" Xiao Wuji was speechless, shook his head slightly, and said regretfully they were ambushed by the demon cult and died in battle. As soon as these words came out, everyone was shocked and grief-stricken. Shuihua grasped the key point very keenly and said, an ambush by the demon cult. Isn't it the Destiny sect? Xiao Wuji said, in this rebellion in northern Xinjiang, not only was the Destiny sect secretly obstructing it, but people from the demon sect also intervened. I will discuss the details with Zouqianhu in detail. It is not suitable to stay here for a long time. I will immediately gather everyone and rush back to Daesu overnight. Seeing Xiao Wuji's serious look and solemn expression, everyone did not dare to be careless and hurriedly summoned all the Jinyi guards. Although they only rested for half the night, they had recovered a lot of strength, enough to travel all night. The Minzhou city gate opened, and Xiao Wuji led the Jinyi way overnight, leaving Minzhou and rushing back to Daesu. Under the dark night, the darkness was so deep that you couldn't see your fingers. A long fire dragon snaked forward in the darkness, and it turned out to be Xiao Wuji and his group holding torches. The fire dragon went further and further away, completely disappeared into the darkness. The next day, Xiao Wuji led his people back to Daesu. After returning to Daesu station, Xiao Wuji immediately went to see the second eunuch Zhou Chunkaiu. Wuji, why are you back so soon? Zhou Chunkaiu asked doubtfully. Xiao Wuji said in a solemn tone, this mission failed. People from the demon cult intervened. As soon as the word demon sect was spoken, Zhou Chunkaiu's expression changed instantly. Although they are both evil sects whose main purpose is rebellion, the Destiny sect and the demon sect are completely different. In the eyes of the court, the Destiny sect is more, the upper level is not enough, but the lower level is more than enough. It is just a problem of mustard moss. The demon sect is the thorn in the side of the court and a thorn in the flesh. If the demon sect is not eliminated, the court will be in trouble. Then Xiaowaji will explain in detail a series of things that happened when he went to Minzhou. Xiaowaji did not tell any lies until the Tianming sect's main altar was blood-bathed. Only in the battle with demon sect Kang Emperor, Xiaowaji modified it. He only said that Ningbai's true identity was Kang, the protector of demon section. The emperor did not say that Lei Ba was an undercover agent of the demon sect. Xiaowaji only said that he, Lei Ba and Zhao Wuqing were ambushed by the demon sect, and the three of them were imprisoned. Lei Ba and Zhao Wuqing died in the battle, and he escaped with luck. If it weren't for my precious treasure to protect my body, and my ability to escape with Qinggong, I'm afraid I wouldn't be able to come back alive. After saying that, Xiaowaji opened his collar, revealing the mysterious jade gauze under his underwear. There was also a red palm print clearly visible on the mysterious jade gauze. The Qinkan flame palm is such a domineering palm power. Zhou Chunkai's eyesight was extraordinary, and he could tell at a glance that the palm print was left by the Qinkan Li flame palm, and the power of the palm was much stronger than when he fought with him before. Then Zhou Chunkai's face changed. Is this Suanya Shai? Obviously, Zhou Chunkai also recognized this world's #1 defensive treasure. He finally understood why Xiaowaji was able to escape from Ningbai's pursuit. It turned out that he had this mysterious jade gauze body protection. Originally, Zhou Chunkai had some doubts about Xiaowaji's words, but at this moment all doubts disappeared. Waji, you are lucky enough to be able to obtain this world's best defense treasure, Zhou Chunkai said with emotion. He did not ask how Xiaowaji got this mysterious jade gauze garment. Everyone has their own secret. If it has nothing to do with important matters, Zhou Chunkai will not care about it. Xiaowaji shook his head and smiled bitterly. It's me too. Life should not be cut off. I was lucky enough to get this mysterious jade gauze garment. Otherwise this time, I will definitely die under the control of Kang Emperor Ningbaiu. Yes, who would have thought that Ningbaiu, as the deputy leader of the Destiny sect, also hides another identity? Zhou Chunkai said with a solemn expression. Although the Destiny sect is the mastermind behind this rebellion in northern Xinjiang, the demon sect is instigated behind it. Martial arts, become invincible starting from the full-level magic system. Author, Drunk in March at West Lake. Chapter 218. Although the Destiny sect has been destroyed, all the Destiny sect's century-old heritage has been looted and taken away by the demon section. The strength of the demon cult that has obtained this batch of foundations will definitely increase greatly. This time the demon sect used a knife to kill people and secretly assassinated Chen Kang. In addition, the fisherman profited and the golden cicada escaped from its shell. It was really vicious. Zhou Chunkai slapped his palm on the tea table, and the real energy in his palm surged, leaving a 5-finger palm print on the tea table. Knowing that he was being used by the demon sect, Zhou Chunkai's heart burst out with anger, and he could hardly suppress it. Xiaowaji looked at Zhou Chunkai and asked, "What should we do next?" The demon sect is not as easy to deal with as the Destiny section. Zhou Chunkai's eyes were cold and he said in a sonorous tone, "Soldiers will block it, water will cover it, and no matter what conspiracy the demon sect has, I will not be afraid. If you want to cause trouble in northern Xinjiang, you must first step over my corpse." After saying that, Zhou Chunkai looked at Xiaowaji and said with relief, "Waji, you narrowly escaped death this time. You've worked hard. Let's take a rest first. If anything happens, my second brother will call you." Xiaowaji nodded, "Okay, thank you second brother." "You're welcome, as you should." The younger brother resigned first. Xiaowaji cupped his hands and said, turned around and strode away. Zhou Chunkai looked deeply at Xiaowaji's leaving back, with a gloomy expression on his face. He didn't know what he was thinking. After several days, no demons appeared in Daesu. The whereabouts of the rebels were traced. The counter-rebellion was proceeding in an orderly manner. Without the instigation from the Tianming cult, the imperial army easily suppressed the rioting refugees. After that, Zhou Chunkaiu acted vigorously and led people to arrest Days Hu, Yongzhou, and the corrupt officials and unscrupulous businessmen in Minzhou beheaded them in front of thousands of refugees and punished them in order to regain the hearts of the people. In Yongzhou city, Xiao Wuji brought people back to this bitter city. After entering the city, Xiao Wuji without delaying for a moment, Wuji led people directly into the governor's office and the county government office, and arrested all corrupt officials such as Feng Henian and Lin Yuxing. Shopkeeper Lu, an illegal 500 grain merchant in Yongzhou, and others were also arrested. Have mercy on Xiaoqianhu, your subordinates really have stopped embezzling disaster relief money and food grains. After Xiaoqianhu left, Xiaoguan has been working hard to provide disaster relief, and he doesn't dare to slack off in the slightest. Please spare Xiaoqianhu's life. We don't dare anymore, never again. In the prison, a group of Yongzhou officials were kneeling on the ground in shackles, crying heartbreakingly. They looked so embarrassed and disgusting. Although this was not the first time I saw it, Xiao Wuji still couldn't hide his disgust. Xiao Wuji, didn't you say you wanted us to make meritorious deeds for our crimes? What are you doing now? You don't keep your promise, you break your promise. Are you worthy of being a royal guard? What kind of hero are you? Feng Henian, Lin Yuxing, and other officials looked at Xiao Wuji angrily and cursed. Xiao Wuji stood with his hands behind his hands, looked at the officials with cold eyes, and said calmly, I only asked you to make meritorious service for your crimes, but I never said that you would make meritorious service. Your merit can offset your death penalty. You have embezzled disaster relief funds and grains, derelict in your duties and harmed the people, and disregarded human lives? Do you know how many innocent people have been killed because of your greed? Do you think everything will be fine if there is no corruption later? It's quite beautiful to think about. Besides, you despicable and shameless dog officials, what qualifications do you have to evaluate whether I am a hero or not? You guys are nothing. You don't keep your word. Feng Henian, Lin Yuxing, and other officials were so angry that they could not speak. This was the only thing they said back and forth. Xiao Wuji sneered, I just broke my word. What can you do to me? To deal with dog officials like you, we must use all means and every possible means. Many officials shouted in horror. You can't kill us. Without His Majesty's will, you have no right to kill us. We are going to Beijing, we are going to face the Holy Spirit. You kill the imperial officials wantonly, His Majesty the Emperor will not let you go. Xiao Wuji said with a sarcastic smile, it's not me who wants to kill you now, but the second eunuch Zouqianhu who wants to kill you. It's useless for you to talk nonsense with me here. If you want to survive, go find him. After speaking, Xiao Wuji waved his hand, and his Jinyi guards immediately dragged them out of the prison, and then escorted them to the Keishikao of Dongjia. In front of the people of Yongzhou, in the Feng Henian year, Lin Yuxing and other officials were all beheaded. Shopkeeper Lu and other illegal businessmen were also beheaded. They were beheaded. Their family property was confiscated and used as disaster relief money to relieve the people. The effect of killing to establish prestige was obvious, and the people's dissatisfaction with the court was temporarily suppressed. After that, there was a series of disaster relief, food distribution, and medical treatment. Refugees. Half a month has passed, and the situation in northern Xinjiang has changed drastically. The rebellious refugees have completely disappeared. The demon cult's old nest is in the Blackbird Cave. The leader of the demon cult, Shangguan Wuidao, is sitting on the leader's dragon throne, with a solemn look on his face, without anger or authority. Haven't you found the whereabouts of Kang Emperor yet? Shangguan Wuidao asked. Although his voice was soft, it was like a thunderous explosion, with every word booming. Returning to the church, Emperor Kang disappeared in Minzhou, northern Xinjiang, and has not been heard from since. Below Shangguan Wuidao, a middle-aged man wearing black clothes and a resolute face saluted and responded respectfully. The subordinates have already interrogated several hall masters under Kang Emperor, but none of them know the whereabouts of Kang Emperor. The subordinates discovered a fighting place in the woods outside Minzhou City, and there were traces of the Qinqin flame palm in it. Based on the current clues, it can be inferred that Emperor Kang must have encountered a powerful enemy and was most likely killed. Who has the courage? Dare to kill my demon sect protector? Shangguan Wuidao looked shocked and angry, and said in a cold voice, although Kang Emperor's strength is not top-notch, there are not many people in the world who can kill him. Can you find any clues about the murderer? The man in black robe below bowed and said the subordinate is incompetent and has not found any specific clues about the murderer. I hope the leader will forgive me. However, according to the inference of my subordinates, Jin Yiwei is most likely to do this. Jin Yiwei? Among them, only Xia Yongxuan and Chief Taibao Wang Sheng had the strength to kill Kang Emperor. Could it be possible that they took action themselves? Shangguan Wuidao's face was gloomy and uncertain, with anger erupting in his heart and murderous intent boiling over. The death of the Ghost Emperor a few days ago has caused heavy losses to the demon section. It has only been so long now that even the Kang Emperor has died. The 3 demons and 6 emperors of the demon sect have died. Who have been powerful in the world for decades, actually lost 2 people in a row in just a few months. This is a great shame and humiliation for the demon sect. Akage, since that battle that year, the demon sect has never been so huge. Loss. Although the Kang Emperor who died this time was not of the bloodline of the Shangguan clan, he was still the backbone of the demon sect. The death of a powerful master would also be a rip-off for the demon sect. Check, this matter must be investigated clearly. The protector of my holy religion must not die in an unknown way. Shangguan Wuidao issued an order. Subordinates obey. The man in black robe lowered his head and bowed in salute. Reporting to the leader, the Blood Shadow asks for an audience. At this moment, a voice suddenly came from outside the main hall. Shangguan Wuidao heard the words and said lightly, "Come in." "Thank you, master." A man in blood-red clothes walked in. His face was cold, his lips were as sharp as a knife, and he exuded a faint smell of blood. Seeing this man coming in, the man in black robe nodded slightly to show respect. The man's name was Shui. Shadow is the most trusted subordinate of Blood Demon Yuquan. Blood Shadow came to Shangguan Wuidao, knelt down and saluted, and said respectfully, "Blood Shadow meets the leader." "Get up." Shangguan Wuidao raised his hand gently and asked, "You come back to see me in person? Yuquan must have something important to report." Shuiying nodded and said the leader clearly understands what he said. Then Shuiying took out a document from his arms, held it in both hands and raised it to his head. Ever since Shuiying walked in, every move he made was as if a minister was meeting the emperor. It can be seen that although the Shangguan clan has lost the world, they are still he regarded himself as a royal family. In Suanyao Cave, there was no difference between Shangguan Wuidao and the emperor. After opening it and reading it, Shangguan Wuidao's eyes lit up. After reading it carefully, Shangguan Wuidao closed the document and said, "Tell Yuquan, if the deity knows the idea, he will do as he says." Since the news of the assassination of Li Wenbo spread, the reputation of the golden-faced Lion King has become more than 10 times greater than before. According to the latest TNG ranking released by TNG Pavilion, the golden-faced Lion King is now ranked 16th on the TNG ranking. After continuous losses after the 2 guardians of Ghost Emperor and Kang Emperor, Shangguan Wuidao finally learned the good news. It finally gave him some comfort. Time passed, and half a month passed in the blink of an eye. The situation in northern Xinjiang was stabilized, and the refugee rebellion was basically quelled. The demon sect rebels that Zhou Chunkaiu had been wary of did not appear. It seems that the people of the demon cult have given up on northern Xinjiang. In the lobby of Daishukinhu office, Zhou Kai was sitting in the main seat, looking at the documents sent from various places, with a smile finally showing on his face. Ever since the rebellion broke out in northern Xinjiang, Zhou Kai had been tossing and turning, unable to sleep all night. Now the rebellion is gradually after calming down, the big stone hanging on his chest was finally put down. Xiao Wuji said the demon sect's behavior is unpredictable and unpredictable. This time it has stopped, I'm afraid it will confuse the court. They will come back soon, and the next time will definitely be more difficult to deal with than this time. Zhou Kai closed the document and said with a solemn expression, you are right, if the demon sect is not eradicated, the world will be uneasy. It's a pity that the demon sect is too strong and cannot be eradicated overnight. Their lair is also hidden too secretly. Even if His Majesty wanted to send a large army to encircle and suppress them, he couldn't do it. Well. Having said this, Zhou Kai sighed deeply, feeling a little helpless and tired. Okay, let's not talk about this anymore. Zhou Kai looked at Xiao Wuji and continued, now that the rebellion in northern Xinjiang has been put down, there is no need for so many manpower for the time being. Wuji, you can take people back to Beijing in a few days. Xiao Wuji nodded and said okay. To be honest, Xiao Wuji has long wanted to return to Beijing. His newlywed wife is still waiting for him at home. The prosperity of northern Xinjiang cannot be compared with that of Jinling. That night, Zhou Kai held a banquet at Qinhu House, and everyone drank and drank, which can be regarded as a celebration for the quelling of the rebellion in northern Xinjiang. At the banquet, everyone was mixed with joy and sorrow. The good thing is that the rebellion has finally been put down, and no more innocent people will suffer from the war and live in danger. The sad thing is that too many people died during the fight against the rebellion. There are so many colleagues. Jin Yiwei Baihu killed more than 1,500 people. A total of more than 60 people from Baihu and Shi Baihu were killed, and 6 from Qianhu were killed. Among them were Lei Ba and Hong Zhenese. Gabai town Fuzikinhu. The losses of the Jin Yiwei this time were greater than the last time the demon cult caused trouble in Jinling. After a night of drinking, Xiao Wuji and Fan Kaija set off back to Beijing with a group of Jin Yiwei on the second day. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Martial arts, become invincible starting from the full level magic system. Author, Drunk in March at Westlake. Chapter 219. When leaving the northern Xinjiang area, the electronic sound of the system sounded in Xiao Wuji's mind. Ding, it is detected that the host has quelled the rebellion in northern Xinjiang and completed the task of quelling the rebellion in northern Xinjiang. Do you want to receive the reward? Receive. Ding, congratulations to the host for obtaining the full-level Tathagata palm. The rewards are being distributed. Distribution completed. A huge message poured into Xiao Wuji's mind, and it was the secret book and essence of Tathagata palm. The glowing man quickly practiced Tathagata palm, allowing Xiao Wuji to master the Tathagata palm to the full level instantly. Tathagata, according to legend, the divine palm is a set of magical skills passed down to mortals by the Buddha Tathagata in order to save all living beings and eliminate calamities. It is divided into 10 forms. They are the first appearance of the Buddha's light, the golden domed Buddha lamp, the Buddha moving the mountains and rivers, the Buddha asking about the Buddha's light shining everywhere, the West Heaven welcoming the Buddha, the heavenly Buddha coming to the world, the boundless Buddha Dharma, the worship of 10,000 Buddhas, and the last step of the Tathagata's nirvana. The domineering power of the Tathagata divine palm is still higher than the 18 dragon subduing palms and the cloud dispelling palm. Although this is a Buddhist martial arts, its killing power is particularly strong, and it can be called the number 1 killing martial arts in Buddhism. It is said that the Buddha is compassionate and can save all living beings, but the Buddha also has the Vajra with angry eyes, which can subjugate and eliminate demons. This Tathagata palm is what the Buddha used when subduing demons. I am an enemy of the demon sect, and this Tathagata's divine palm is specially designed to subjugate demons. It is indeed God's will. With the Tathagata palm, Xiao Wuji's skills have improved and he has gone further and further on the road of heaven and man. He feels that his understanding of the power of heaven and earth has taken another step forward. Not only can he borrow more power of heaven and earth, he can continue to fight. The time has also increased several times. Generally speaking, after this transformation, Xiao Wuji is closer to the realm of the unity of nature and man. He feels that it is not far away from his true breakthrough to the realm of unity of nature and man. Drive. 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 On horseback, Xiao Wuji galloped wildly, his speed suddenly speeding up. Fan Kaija beside him smiled and said, 13th brother, are you in such a hurry to return to Beijing because you miss your wife at home? Xiao Wuji smiled and said, of course. If you don't miss your wife, do you miss the grown man? My wife and I were sent to northern Xinjiang by my third brother less than a month after we got married. This time I must let my third brother give me a big holiday when I go back. By the way, 9th brother, you are also married, right? Fan Kaija smiled and nodded. I have been married a long time ago, and my eldest son is as old as you. It's a pity that bastard doesn't want to start a family, otherwise I would even have grandchildren. Xiao Wuji said in surprise, so I have an older nephew? Interesting and interesting, you must see it if you have the chance. Fan Kaija smiled and said, I will introduce you to him when I return to Beijing this time. Okay, that's settled. Xiao Wuji laughed loudly. Everyone galloped on their horses and quickly disappeared on the horizon. Later, Xiao Wuji learned that Fan Kaija was not only married, but also married 6 concubines in addition to his wife. Now he has given birth to a total of 9 children. It can be said that they have both sons and daughters. Xiao Wuji, the other Taibao, didn't know that Yuan Xiong and Fan Kaija, whom Xiao Wuji knew, were already married, and they all had sons and daughters. Only Zhou Chunkai was still alone and had not married a wife yet. Xiao Wuji heard the news. It is said that Zhou Chunkai once fell in love with a woman when he was young, but it was a pity that the woman died later. After that, Zhou Chunkai closed his heart and never saw a second woman in his eyes, and he has been single until now. If it is true as the rumors say, then Zhou Chunkai's spring and autumn are really a kind of love. It took Xiao Wuji and his party 10 days to finally return to Jinling City. I finally came back. I wonder if Wanhuolo has reopened? Shui Hua looked at the majestic Jinling City gate and said with a smile. Song Liman answered from the side, it's been so long, Wanhua Tower will definitely reopen. As long as you have money, it will be enough for you. It's a pity that adults can't go with us. After saying that, the two of them looked at Xiao Wuji at the same time, with a look of regret. Xiao Wuji rolled his eyes and said, what's the point of spending money to find a woman? If you have the ability, you can do it for free. It's a pity that with the looks of the two of you, it's impossible in this life. After saying that, Xiao Wuji laughed loudly and rode his horse into the city gate. Everyone followed behind him. Shuihua and Song Liman were speechless. If you want to have sex for free in Wanhua Tower, you must have power or literary talent. It's a pity. None of the 3 roads led to them. When everyone returned to Fuzi, Beijing, Xiao Wuji and Fan Kaija immediately went to Qinhu to see Yuan Xiong. In the middle hall of Qinhu, Yuan Xiong was sitting in the main seat, holding a cup of tea in his hand. Looking straight at the dossier documents. Third brother, we are back. Xiao Wuji and Fan Kaija shouted at the same time. Yuan Xiong heard the sound and raised his head. When he saw Xiao Wuji and Fan Kaija returning, he immediately showed joy and quickly stood up to greet them. You are finally back. Just come back, just come back. As he spoke, he patted the shoulders of the two of them and asked with concern, "You're not hurt, are you?" Xiao Wuji and Fan Kaija shook their heads at the same time. "No injuries, nothing happened at all." Not only was he not injured, Wuji also successfully broke through to the Grand Master realm this time. Fan Kaija pointed at Xiao Wuji and said. Yuan Xiong smiled and said, "I have heard about it. You have successfully broken through. It is really gratifying." Xiao Wuji shook his head and said, "It's just a breakthrough to the early stage of Grand Master, it's nothing. Encountered an old monster in the world." Yuan Xiong knew what Xiao Wuji was talking about, and said seriously, "I've heard about you, so I can't blame you. Who would have thought that Ningbiu, the famous fire dragon king in the world, would be the Kang Emperor, the protector of the demon sect? It's already very rare for you to escape from his hands. Lei Ba's death cannot be blamed on you, you yourself also narrowly escaped death. When it comes to Lei Ba, Yuan Xiong is also full of regrets. Lei Ba is a master of the land rankings, ranking at the top among the thousands of households in Fuzi, Bijan, and is his right-hand man. When Lei Ba died, he lost another available person. Xiao Wuji he has been paying attention to the expressions of Yuan Xiong and Fan Kaija. When talking about Lei Ba's death, there was no difference in their expressions, which made Xiao Wuji less suspicious of the two. To be honest, Xiao Wuji now has no regard for Yuan Xiong and Fan Kaija. He was so trusting before. To be precise, since his contact with Kang Emperor Ningbiu, Xiao Wuji has distrusted everyone in Bijan Fuzi. Except for Shuihua and Song Liman. Only these two people are absolutely trustworthy. Because if these two people are undercover agents, then the people of the demon cult must have known about his hidden strength. The demon cult did not find out, which proves that these two people are not undercover agents of the demon cult. As for Yuan Xiong and Fan Kaija, Xiao Wuji still needs to be exposed to the test slowly. Lei Ba alone cannot conclude that the two of them are not undercover agents of the demon cult. Because Lei Ba is hidden very deep, even the Ghost Emperor's 7 killings and soul-eating souls are not known. He is an undercover agent of the demon sect. The traitors placed by the demon sect among the Jinyi guards are likely to be unaware of each other's identities. In this way, even if one person is exposed, the others will not be in danger. The demon sect operates in secret. His methods are sophisticated and always impeccable. Yuan Xiong said, "You guys have worked hard this time, just go back and rest for a while. I have reported your merits to His Majesty the Emperor, and I believe you will be rewarded soon." Xiao Wuji smiled and said, "Thank you so much, third brother." Zero asking for flowers. After leaving Bijan Fuzi, Xiao Wuji rushed back to Xiao Mansion as soon as possible. "The young master is back. I've seen the young master." Many guards in the Xiao Mansion saluted respectfully, but Xiao Wuji didn't pay attention to any of them. On the way, he also met the wooden man Gong Sun Ao, but Xiao Wuji ignored him. No one can compare with his wife. Xiao Lang. Su Weiner heard the noise in the house and knew that Xiao Wuji was back, so she hurriedly ran out to greet her. The moment she saw Xiao Wuji, Su Weiner burst into tears from the corners of her eyes and threw herself into Xiao Wuji's arms. "Xiao Lang, Wanner misses you so much." Su Weiner hugged Xiao Wuji tightly, wishing that their bodies could blend together. Xiao Wuji smiled and said, "I miss you too." The surrounding servants and maids were very discerning and retreated silently, not daring to disturb Xiao Wuji and Su Weiner. Only the maid Xiaolan stayed aside to serve, turning her head and snickering. Xiao Wuji looked at Xiaolan and said, "I'm on my way. I've been stinking for a few days. Go and prepare bath water immediately. I want to take a bath." Xiaolan said quickly, "I understand, young master." Then Xiaolan and several maids put down the big tub in the room, poured hot water skillfully, and then closed the door while leaving. Only Su Weiner stayed. Su Weiner walked to the window, lowered the curtains, and served Xiao Wuji. "Bathing. It's still comfortable at home. Xiao Wuji lay in the bathtub, closing his eyes and enjoying it, feeling that his muscles and bones were softened. Su Weiner rubbed Xiao Wuji's back and said distressedly, Xiao Lang's mission must be very hard, right? When Xiao Lang came back this time, he not only looked darker, but also lost weight. Xiao Wuji smiled and said, it's not as exaggerated as you said. I'm fine. Touching Su Weiner's little hand, Xiao Wuji felt hot in his heart, and then pulled Su Weiner into the bathtub. Then 100,000 words are omitted here. For several days in a row, Xiao Wuji stayed away from the house and stayed with his wife every day. However, in just 3 days, Amelia Su's face was radiant and her energy was several times better than in the past month or so. The Su-Yu couple were naturally relieved to see that their daughter's spirit had improved. However, Su-Qin was worried about the health of Xiao Wuji and Su Weiner, so she personally made Shiquan Dabu decoction and sent it to them every day. As someone who has been there, she is very experienced. On this day, Xiao Wuji and Su Weiner were playing chess in the back garden. Suddenly I heard a servant coming to report that the palace servant had arrived. It turned out that the reward had arrived from Emperor Jingtai. Xiao Wuji made great contributions to quelling the chaos in northern Xinjiang. Emperor Jingtai's reward was very heavy, certainly not comparable to the time when the palace rescued him. It's just that Xiao Wuji no longer looks down on the yellow and white things the emperor rewarded. The trip to Beijiang made Xiao Wuji indifferent to Emperor Jingtai's favor. If it weren't for the fact that Jin Yiwei's Taibao couldn't resign, Xiao Wuji would have resigned from his position as Taibao and gone free. It is a waste of time and life to work for such an unprincipled and ignorant king. It's a pity that Xiao Wuji, as the 13th Taibao, cannot leave casually. He was born as the emperor's man, and died as the emperor's ghost. Once you want to resign, you are betraying the emperor. One can imagine the consequences of betraying the emperor. Xiao Wuji currently doesn't have the strength to overturn the table, so he can only accept it in vain. Son-in-law, you don't look happy. Su Yu looked at Xiao Wuji with doubts on his face. Xiao Wuji smiled and shook his head and said, it's okay, I just thought of other things. The dog emperor feasted on fish and meat in the palace, ate delicious food and spicy food, wore gold and silver, and squandered lavishly, but he didn't know that tens of thousands of people in northern Xinjiang starved to death. Thinking of this, Xiao Wuji felt so happy that he was so happy. Martial arts, become invincible starting from the full-level magic system. Author, Drunk in March at West Lake. Chapter 220. Call. Just then, a cold wind blew and snowflakes began to fall from the sky. Snowing. Su Weiner raised her hand to take a piece of snowflake, and the temperature in her palm melted the snowflake. Now it is November, winter has arrived, and it is colder than in previous years. The first snow this year also came earlier than in previous years. I don't know how many people will freeze to death this winter. Xiao Wuji sighed in his heart. Every winter, people freeze to death and starve to death, especially this year. This year, there is no harvest in the 3 states of northern Xinjiang, and after the refugee rebellion, it is even more difficult for the people to survive. Although it is temporarily relieved by the court's disaster relief, I came here, but now the cold winter has arrived. Relief from the imperial court alone cannot save all the people. It is foreseeable that this winter will be the end of countless people in northern Xinjiang. Dog Emperor, you deserve to die. Xiao Wuji pulled out the dog emperor and scolded him in his heart, but at the same time he also felt helpless. There were too many refugees and corrupt officials in the world, and he alone could not save them. In this difficult world, Xiao Wuji could only survive on his own. It's not easy anymore. Forget it, these are not what I should be thinking about. Xiao Wuji temporarily put his worries behind him and concentrated on being affectionate with his wife. It was a rare vacation and it was not a problem to stay in the house all day. On this day, Xiao Wuji and Su Weiner were wandering around Jinling City. Su Weiner walked to a place at the jewelry stall. He picked up a hairpin and asked. Xiao Wuji smiled and said, "It looks good. My Wanner looks good in anything she wears. If you like it, buy it." As he said this, Xiao Wuji handed the money to the vendor and bought the gold hairpin. He inserted the gold hairpin into Su Weiner's hair, and Su Weiner blushed slightly. "Xiao Lang, this is on the street, and there are outsiders. Here I am." Su Weiner has a gentle personality and can't stand Xiao Wuji teasing her on the street. Xiao Wuji touched Su Weiner's cheek and smiled. "I am your husband and you are my wife. It is only natural that I treat you well. It doesn't matter if someone sees me already. Besides, even if it's really teasing, am I guilty of teasing my wife?" As he said that, he took Su Weiner's hand and walked away in a big way. No matter what Su Weiner saw along the way, Xiao Wuji paid for it. Several innate guards behind him were carrying large and small bags, and soon there was no place to put his hands. On the road, a young couple saw Xiao Wuji and Su Weiner. The woman felt jealous and cursed at her husband. "Look at other people's husbands. The wife buys whatever she likes without saying a word. Look at you again, I want to buy a box of rouge but you are reluctant. I will be unlucky for 8 lifetimes by marrying you." The husband looked unconvinced and said, "What's the point of buying jewelry and rouge? Those are all lies. My love for you is real. Compared with my sincerity, jewelry, rouge, and makeup are just foreign objects, so what are they?" The woman said reluctantly, "You will use these beautiful words to comfort me. Sincerely, where is your sincerity? I can't see. Anyway, I just want to buy rouge, and I want it today. Besides, I'm dressed up beautifully, isn't it just for you to see?" The husband was short of money and looked confused. "Madam, it's not that I won't buy it for you, but our family is short of money. Next time, when I get my salary this month, I will definitely buy it for you." With that said, the couple walked away. Xiao Wuji and Su Weiner listened to the conversation between the two and looked at each other with a smile. Su Weiner found it interesting. After all, it was the first time she had seen such an interesting thing. But in Xiao's case, Wuji looked at it, but found it boring. He had seen this kind of thing too much in Blue Star in his previous life. How should I put it? For a man and a woman to come together, emotion is the foundation and the key. But money is also the foundation. There is no material thing. Love is like a castle in the air, elusive and out of reach. Some people say that love is full of water. But in Xiao Wuji's view, this sentence is pure nonsense. However, Xiao Wuji does not deny that there is the purest love in the world. But this kind of love is like a castle in the air. Love is very rare, not 1 in a million. It is even less than the number of great masters. Real love is just daily necessities. If there is no material foundation, then no matter how sincere and pure love is, it will be wasted day after day. Has become no longer pure. Xiao Wuji is very happy that he has the ability to make money. Su Weiner's family is also rich. So they don't need to worry about money, they can abandon everything and concentrate on managing their relationship. "Hey, Su's jewelry store?" Xiao Wuji looked at Su Weiner and asked, "Is this driven by my father-in-law?" Su Weiner shook her head, "I'm not sure either. My father owns so many restaurants and shops that I can't remember them all." As soon as these words were spoken, there was a strong sense of Versailles. Su Weiner herself may not have meant it, she was just telling the truth. But in Xiao Wuji's view, it was Versailles. "These words and my father's money are too much, I can't. Not sure what the difference is." Xiao Wuji smiled and said, "Since you are here, let's go in and take a look." With that said, Xiao Wuji led Su Weiner into Su's jewelry store. When the shopkeeper saw Xiao Wuji and Su Weiner, he immediately walked out of the counter and said respectfully, "I have seen my uncle, miss." Yes. As soon as I said this, it proved that this store was indeed opened by Su Yu. Su Weiner asked doubtfully. The store was opened by my father? The shopkeeper smiled and said it is indeed a new one opened by the master. It has been open for less than a month. My dear, just take a look, if you like it, just take it away. While talking, the shopkeeper took Xiao Wuji and Su Weiner around the store, and at the same time ordered the waiter to make tea. You know, the uncle and young lady of the Su family are here today. Su Weiner will not talk about it, the only eldest lady of the Su family. In the future, he will be the only heir to the Su family's industry. My uncle Xiao Wuji's background is even greater. He is a royal guard with thousands of households and a popular figure in front of the emperor. He is extremely powerful. The Su family's industry can expand 2 or 3 times in just a few months. It is the prestige of Xiao Wuji. The store is large and luxuriously decorated. It is said to be a jewelry store, but it sells many and miscellaneous things. High-end jewelry, gold and silver jewelry, and gorgeous clothes embroidered with gold threads and inlaid with jewelry. Robes, etc. Anyway, the price of each piece is not low. This store is specially designed to serve wealthy people, and ordinary civilians are destined not to be customers of this store. My cheap father-in-law's business ability is indeed extraordinary. Xiao Wuji has long known that his father-in-law is good at business. After all, it is impossible to start from an ordinary restaurant and become a wealthy businessman in Jinling today without 2 brushes. But seeing the Su's jewelry store with his own eyes today, Xiao Wuji admired Su Yu's business skills even more. This Su's jewelry store is like a luxury store on Blue Star. Obviously Su Yu already knows the essence of making money. Just make money from rich people. There is nothing to make from poor people's money. And if you want to make money from women. There is nothing to make from men's money. As long as you grasp the 2 important points of rich people and women, Su Yu can lose money even if he wants to. Not too possible. My dear, do you have anyone you like? The shopkeeper offered 2 cups of good tea and asked respectfully. Xiao Wuji shook his head, I'm not interested in these gold and silver jewelry. Where is Wan'er? Su Wan'er also shook her head. I don't like anything either. Amelia Su is never short of jewelry. The one she liked was bought for her by Xiao Wuji himself. As long as Xiao Wuji bought it, even if it was just a wooden hairpin, it would be thousands of times better than these gold and silver jewelry. Let's go. Su Wan'er looked at the jewelry store, but found nothing interesting, so she pulled Xiao Wuji to leave. But at this moment, a group of fierce men suddenly broke in outside the store. There were several ladies in the store. Looking at this, the group of big men immediately showed panic and left in a hurry. Where is the shopkeeper? Where is the shopkeeper? Come out and see me. A bald man stepped forward and shouted with an arrogant attitude. His head was bald, without a single hair, but he had a tattoo. The tattoo looked like a dragon but not a dragon, and looked like a python but not a python. All I can say is it's a lazy snake with 4 legs. Yes, yes, I'm here. The shopkeeper stepped forward with a formal smile for entertaining guests and said with a smile, what are your orders for this good man? But what about the poor hospitality in the small shop that offended a good man? The tattooed man glanced at the shopkeeper and said contemptuously, are you the shopkeeper of this shop? How brave are you? The shopkeeper didn't know why and asked with a dry smile, what does a hero mean? I'm sorry, I don't understand. The tattooed man smiled coldly and said, don't you know that this street is the territory of my Yulong gang? If you want to open a shop or do business on this street, you must obtain the consent of our Yulong gang. You opened a shop here quietly without even saying hello. This means you don't take our Yulong gang seriously. The shopkeeper was speechless. Xiao Wuji also understood that he was here to collect protection money. Although Jinling City is the imperial city of the great Zhou dynasty, under the emperor's feet, there are still many lawless gangs in the city. They did not dare to bully court officials or powerful families, but they did dare to bully ordinary people and some ordinary businesses. If you want to open a store, you must give gifts to these gangs and seek shelter. Even greedy gangs will ask businesses to give them a share. If you don't give money, they will come and cause trouble. Blocking the door to drive away customers, pouring night fragrance on the store, and beating the clerk are all minor offenses. In serious cases, they may even burn down your shop, and they may even dare to kill people. In short, it is a different kind of extortion. The Yamen will take care of this kind of thing. 3.5, but it can't do it because there are too many gangsters on the street. I couldn't catch him even if I wanted to. Moreover, these gangs will also respect the people in the government and let the officials be their backing. The merchant went to report it to the police, but he couldn't catch a gangster for a month, so in the end he had no choice but to let it go. But gang harassment of stores will not stop. Over time, the store will lose money, not to mention making money. The businessman had no choice but to pay the money honestly. The shopkeeper looked at the tattooed man and asked, "I wonder how much does the good man want?" The tattooed man nodded with satisfaction after hearing what the shopkeeper said. "You are quite sensible and know the rules." After that, he glanced at the store decoration, and said, "I won't bully you, just follow the old rules, and I will give you 30% of your monthly income." "What? 30%? The shopkeeper's eyes widened. 30% of the profit is simply higher than the business tax collected by the court. How? Too much. The face of the tattooed man suddenly darkened. "I tell you, if you want to do business on this street, you must abide by the rules of our Yulong gang. Taking you 30% is already giving you face. If you anger me, I will take you 50%. As long as you pay the money obediently, I will ensure that your business is prosperous and no one will come to trouble you again. Otherwise,